Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for Below Grade Level. Tell your parents you're going to a sleepover.
Down in the crowded hall, you'll see there's a beauty standing. Is she really everywhere? A reflection, one always falls onto you. The other shy and quiet. Could there be two different girls who look the same at Sweet Valley, Sweet Valley?
Hello again, and welcome to Below Grade Level, the podcast where we read your favorite books as children and ruin them. I'm Chris Zaleski. With me, as always, is Jonathan Eaton.
Hi.
And Bekah Eaton.
Hello.
Today is episode 2 of us reading the first book of Sweet Valley High, which I believe is called Double Love.
Yes. I
Which
kept
I
getting
don't
it wrong
remember
before,
from
and I
last
kept calling
time.
it Double Trouble.
I'm just
does
looking
sound
at
like
the
a good name for a
URL
book about twins.
of the book we're reading. We're all at our own houses. John and Bekah are at theirs. I'm at mine. And with us today is our special guest, Christine Schrader.
Hello.
Hi.
Who's all the way in LA.
That's right. And as someone calling in from California, I have a special connection with the Sweet Valley books, which is how I got invited onto this when I started an argument on Jonathan's Facebook about Sweet Valley High and the mistakes he was making on this podcast.
I took a picture of the beginning of my notes where I remembered the name of the book as Double Trouble, and you immediately commented like 5 times within 30 seconds.
I have opinions, and the only opinions I have that matter are about Sweet Valley, so I'm ready.
And as I have found out in the last week since we've been talking about having you on the show, you're a fucking expert. Like, you're a pro at Sweet Valley.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually, as I shared with you today, I read their new adult book that came out a couple years ago called Sweet Valley Confidential. I've read all of the series. I did forget that
Do
there
they
was
become detectives?
No, they do not. Elizabeth becomes a writer. Jessica continues to be an asshole. It's mostly
that's
like
not
that.
surprising.
But they also, and the one I forgot to mention to you, Jonathan, is Sweet Valley has the older one, but they had Sweet Valley Senior Year, which is the woke one, where an earthquake causes the minority high school to join Sweet Valley High, and it's very, very...
What?
It's even more Degrassi, strenuously Degrassi than regular Sweet Valley High.
Well, it started in like the 60s, didn't it?
I don't know what
80s.
year it started. I think the 80s, yeah. I read it
83.
in the 90s.
The first Sweet Valley High was published in 1983.
Yeah, the one that we're reading.
Okay.
I don't know about Sweet Valley Twins because I didn't look that up.
I kind of assumed Sweet Valley Twins was like an afterthought. Like Sweet
For
Valley.
some reason, I think
always...
Sweet Valley Twins was the first one, and then they spin off Sweet Valley High, Sweet Valley Twins and Friends, Sweet Valley Kids, Sweet Valley University, and then later
Jesus
Sweet
Christ.
Valley Senior Year. And there's also an Elizabeth Diary series that I read, and there are time-spanning ones that are called like Sweet Valley Sagas about like these families through the years. Like the Wakefields have always been fucking the Patmans for like millions of years, like since the Stone Age.
So they're inbred.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going
Holy
on.
shit.
Yeah.
So I really...
Wait,
I
hold
was...
on. I have made a
discovery?
mistake.
Oh.
I made a mistake. So the series itself came out in 1983, so that's when Sweet Valley Twins started.
Oh.
Oh. I think. Hold on.
Okay.
That
Let me
feels
dig into
right
this
to me.
Wikipedia.
That feels right to
Okay.
me.
There were 181 books.
181? That's like 3 times as many Animorphs.
Well, it's interesting
Yeah,
because there
well-
was like a stable of writers, and the same with like the Babysitters Club, which were like eventually is not written by Anna and Martin. They were these stable of writers writing as Francine Pascal's Sweet Valley insert noun here.
Yeah.
And it's weird.
As we've discovered with all of these books, that's the case. It was the same thing with Animorphs, and I like to think that it's not the same thing with
Except for
Goosebumps.
R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
R.L.
And
Stein
Christopher
wrote
Pike.
all of
Christopher
those
Pike
terrible
and R.L.
pieces
Stein.
himself.
They do it all themselves, and they were the other ones I was reading at that time. So I gotta give them props for sheer quantity.
What were you gonna say, Bekah? Or did you?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. You made the interrupting motion.
Oh, I made the stop interrupting Christine while she's talking motion.
Oh, I misinterpreted the interrupting motion. Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
I'm very confused because then I look up Sweet Valley High Double Love and that says 1983.
Yeah, so I thought this said it was published in 83.
It doesn't
Maybe
matter.
Maybe they came out the same year.
It's timeless.
All right.
What? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I was joking originally when I called this the SVU, the Sweet Valley Universe, but really, like, it's like the Marvel Universe. It's a lot of shit in Sweet Valley.
Oh, sure. And, like, you know, it's very strange. Because also, it's weird, like, the Babysitters Club did this also where it, like, went backwards into, like younger parts of their lives. And, like, there was one about, like, Christy Thomas's little stepsister that was, like, her friends. And it was, like, it was this thing before it was a thing for these, like, young people books to, like, spin off into different age groups and things that... And the way they do it is sometimes uncomfortable, right? Like, because obviously there's timelines happening at the same time, and, you know, all of these different storylines don't exactly match up when you look back toward, you know, Sweet Valley kids when they're in, like, second grade.
When you're doing
I remember that with Babysitters Club because they had like the junior babysitters or something.
Yeah,
and they were like
about that.
2 years younger.
Yeah.
And then they had a spin-off series.
It just all makes me think of like Scrappy Doo. Like, let's add a younger sibling.
Yeah. It's
Also,
always
a cousin
worse.
Oliver, as it's called.
Cousin Oliver.
Yeah.
But also, like, as a bit of podcast business, and even though this isn't the book we're reading right now, Babysitter's Club is going to be a brand new show on Netflix.
Oh,
I
right.
know.
And I think after
I am so
the
excited.
first episode premieres, we should just do a special episode.
That's a
just
great idea.
Talking about that show.
Yeah,
and how it
I'm down with
measures
that.
up
Becca,
to
I'm assuming you're excited.
What's Her Face's great idea.
You've read the Babysitter's Club. I think you guys should do a special show that is just the compendium of that 6 pages at the beginning of every single one that's almost identical, but like slightly different, describing each of the girls. And they're like, Claudia Kitschy's so artistic. She hides candy all over her room. Her phone looks like this, and she loves Mimi and her stepsister Janice. Isn't so great? And you're like, oh my god. It's
fuck
always
her
the
sister,
same.
man.
Oh, I like Janet. Janet had some sick, nerdy burns.
Janet has
I
some
love
sick,
them.
nerdy burns, but like her whole shtick was just like, technically this could be correct, but technically it could also not be. Like, go fuck yourself,
you know what? She was
Janet.
right.
Huh? What?
She was right.
Yeah. No one.
But
They
also,
should
if you
consider
had a
her to
younger
put that
sibling,
apostrophe. I
if
know
you had
no
a
one
younger
likes them
sibling
because it's
that
me.
was running a business out of her bedroom with all of her friends, you'd probably get annoyed by it too.
Probably very much.
Okay, so.
But yeah, that was like copy and paste exposition at the front of every single book.
Oh, really?
Like 5
Every
pages of
single
here's who
one.
they are,
Oh
here's
my
how the
God.
business works.
We've only read
here's
the
what
first-
the logo looks like.
We read the
And
first
Sweet.
Babysitter's Club.
Here's all their
Sweet Valley
positions in the
does
club.
it too. Sweet
Yeah.
Valley does the like blonde hair, identical, blue-green eyes like the ocean, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned to you earlier today, Jonathan, that when they reissued them like 2 years ago, they changed the cat description of the girls from perfect size 6 figures to perfect size 2 figures. And people like flipped
Ooh.
the fuck out. They're like, this is what's wrong with
Wow.
America today and standards of beauty. Like they had to like downsize the Sweet Valley girls because now people would say they were fat if they were a size 6 and all this stuff. And it was a, you know, in the circles I run in, it was a big deal.
That is really specifically weird for them to do, to go in to be like, let's change this one thing. They seem kind of fat when you read it on the page. Like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, well, because
no,
I think
they
they're
do.
supposed to be like people want like people want to be like them, right? Like they're this sort of like
Yeah.
iconic thing, and nobody's gonna want to be like you want to be a size 2 here in the year of our Lord 2016. Like you're not gonna want to be a size 6.
A size
It's a
6,
classic
I might as
case
well
of,
be Jessica Wakefield and want to die constantly. Not Jessica, sorry, Elizabeth.
It's a classic case of people that make way much more money than we do trying to justify their job by coming up with ideas that are horrible.
Yeah,
True.
that's a good way of putting it. Okay, so usually what we do when we're doing this type of thing when we're on part 2 and 3 is we recap what happened last time, and usually one of us will do it since the guest that we're having wasn't here, maybe didn't listen to it, but I want to do something slightly different because Christine not only knows this shit from memory, but you just listened to the audio cassette recording of this and the next book before this, so you actually know what's going to happen. So I want you to recap what happened in the first third of this book.
She might not remember specifically where the third of it ends.
Becca,
I can tell her when to stop.
I got this. All right. So I'll start the way the audio cassette starts, with like a cool guitar. It's like, so we're in Sweet Valley, and there are two perfect, beautiful, blonde, size 6 twins with blue-green eyes, just like the ocean. Elizabeth and Jessica Wakefield. Elizabeth is the good twin. She is the editor of the school newspaper. She also is the secret gossip columnist of the Eyes and Ears column. Jessica is the head of the cheerleading squad and is fabulous and popular. And they love each other a lot, but Jessica's a dick and Elizabeth is a doormat. So that's the way their relationship turns out. So we know from the beginning that Jessica has been in trouble because she's not allowed to drive. She's got a 3-week suspension from her parents of driving their cute little Fiat that they drive around. But if you think that's going to stop Jessica Wakefield, you don't know shit. Elizabeth and Jessica are driving to school. Elizabeth is fantasizing about Todd Wilkins, star of the basketball squad, in a real dreamboat. Jessica is conniving how she's going to get Todd's eye as well. She goes through some tricks to make sure that Todd is hanging out with her, even though Elizabeth feels that they've had this connection, and lies a little bit to Elizabeth about how she's been hanging out. We also see rich asshole Bruce Patman, who, for those of us in the Sweet Valley universe, we know later that's who Elizabeth ends up with in the adult books. Bruce Patman insults her, and Jessica ends up with Todd Wilkins. What? So Bruce Patman is insulting her, etc. And then Jessica, who's always looking for a good time, runs into Rick Andover, a guy who, like, I think dropped out of school. I think he's still like 17, but he looks like he's like 35 and kind of got like a Matthew McConaughey creeper, dazed and confused energy.
Oh, yeah.
And is like, I'm going to pick you up later. And he calls her Heaven a lot, which is real creepy.
Ew.
But
Yeah, I don't like it.
she's down for danger. Like, that's just our girl Jess. Like, she is always in control of any situation. And, Todd didn't pay enough attention to her, so she's going to make him jealous. And she's also going to borrow all of Elizabeth's clothes and make them smell like cigarette smoke at the same time. So, around the corner from the Wakefield's house, Elizabeth assumes Jessica is going on a date with her beloved Todd Wilkins, so she doesn't look out the window. But if she did, she would have seen Jessica step into Rick Andover's car. Dun, dun, dun!
That was
How
more
did
information
people
than I genuinely
date?
got reading the book.
How did people date before Facebook stalking? Like, you just literally know nothing about the person.
Oh, that was amazing.
Taking risks, I guess.
Yeah.
Getting in strange, gross guys' cars.
Getting in gross guys' cars who smell like, as I remember, leather and gasoline.
Yeah.
So is Rick Matthew McConaughey now?
Oh, you know what? He could be. That'll be easier to do than Jabba the Hutt.
I definitely was picturing like a 29-year-old and not a high school student.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey sounds right, so that's what I'm gonna do. Since
I repeated like 10 times.
He's the first. He's the first one that talks on this page. So let's get right into it. Sweet Valley High, number 1, Double Love, Chapter 6. You're light, Rick said, gunning the engine impatiently as Jessica climbed in beside him. His dark eyes flickered over her. But I can see it was worth the wait. Jessica was glad she'd taken the trouble to curl her hair and put on her sexiest red blouse. She'd even borrowed her sister's brand new black sandal heels to go with her black silk jersey skirt. Silk jersey? Silk jersey. Like silk and...
It's hard to
like
imagine
t-shirts
those things because
material.
they're very different classes
It's
of
a
material.
silk skirt, but it's got a t-shirt cotton
Maybe like a jersey
lining.
skirt with like
A
the
sheen.
little edge at the bottom is
yeah.
satin or something.
And I think
Yeah.
like when it's like
satin
shiny,
trimmed.
you know, like there's that jersey that's
Yeah.
like kind of shiny.
It's got a shine to it. She
It was
felt
the
very grown up.
80s. It was another planet.
Yeah, she felt very grown up, wedged in beside Rick with his arm clamped around her tits. Sorry, Rick, she breathed. I had trouble getting away. Oh, sorry, Rick, she breathed. I forgot what voice she was doing. I had trouble getting away. Forget it. The night is young and we've just begun heaven. Gross! God! I'm so unhappy that we all decided on this voice already.
Jonathan, can I
pressed
call
her-
you Heaven for the rest of the duration of our friendship?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Please do. Yeah,
You're
that's
the
totally
blondest
cool.
person I know, so I'm gonna be like, hey, Heaven.
I'm the
You look
Jessica
the
in
most
our
like-
relationship.
Yeah, you look the most like a Wakefield out of any of us on the podcast.
God damn it. So my Steven Wakefield, their hot brother.
The hot brother, yes.
The hot brother that they're both, like, definitely fucking. He pressed her even closer, turning his face briefly to nuzzle her hair. She caught the faint smell of cigarettes and liquor on his breath. Ooh, super dangerous.
I said earlier,
What a
he's
bad
gonna get
boy.
her pregnant.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then the
For the
next slide
first
is,
time,
I'm gonna
like,
get you
into
pregnant.
It, though. Like, I'm like, cigarettes and liquor, I don't know what that's like. Like, let's go. Let's drive on out, Ricky boy.
Let's see where this goes. See where the night takes us. Where are we going? Jessica asked as Rick's Camaro shot out over the winding valley road leading to the coast highway. Before he could say anything, she answered her own question. I know. That's for you to know and me to find out, right? That seems really risky and dangerous for me to do as a high school girl.
Oh God.
Well, I'm gonna say I don't think the Camaro is gonna be the only thing that shoots out over the course of this chapter.
Oh, fuck.
Right. Hey, you're a fast learner. I can't wait to see what else you're good at. I don't remember these books
Wow.
being so horny.
Like,
Oh, yeah. They're real
I feel
horny.
like it's going to turn into porn, like, immediately.
Yeah. See, I remember The Babysitter's Club a lot more clearly than these books, but I know I read them.
Okay.
For a long time, like, they walk us to sex and then, like, walk it back, but there's a lot of, like, sort of, like, hormonal, like, there's a lot of, like, making out and heavy petting and near-date rapey stuff, and, like, in the woke books, like, they deal a lot more with, like, fucking.
Oh, wow.
That's
See,
crazy.
I feel like...
I was picturing, or I don't know, I was just remembering them as more PG, but maybe I read more Sweet Valley Twins than High.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sweet Valley Twins is, like, middle school. That's, like, Babysitter's Club, like, level action.
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is kind of what I thought we'd be getting more into with Fear Street when we read that one Fear Street book, but it really
Yeah.
wasn't that horny.
No.
There was, like, a little bit of
Pike
kissing,
is a
but...
lot more horny than Fear Street. Like, if you get into the last vampire books, which are the best, that's when you get some nice, sexy times.
Okay. We'll have to put that on our list.
Yeah, I recognize the name, but I don't remember the book.
I'm pretty sure I read them, but I don't have them, so I don't know. I guess I borrowed them maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the implication in them that Jesus Christ was a vampire, so that's good.
Oh, I'm into that.
Okay. Jessica shivered a little at his compliment. He talked the way he drove, fast and dangerously. He talked dangerously. For an instant, she wondered if she would be able to keep him at bay, but she quickly dismissed the worry. She had yet to come up against a situation she couldn't handle. Even so, nothing could squelch the nerves fluttering in her stomach as Rick's car spun to a stop in a shower of gravel in front of a seedy-looking beachfront roadhouse.
Oh, God.
A red blinking neon sign advertised that it was Kelly's. Loud music spilled from the open doorway, punctuated by harsh bursts of laughter.
I feel like we're in Twin Peaks.
I was about to say, it's One-Eye Jacks. That's exactly, I was like, One-Eye Jacks on the beach is literally what I was waiting for Becca
Yes.
to the end of with the blinking sign. Like, I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh, this is
Like,
terrifying
I feel like
now.
the next line is like, Rick put a bump of cocaine on his finger and shoved it up Jessica's nose. She's in it now.
Jessica,
Let's
wait
see
till
what
you're almost
happens.
fucking your dad, because Audrey Horne knows what that.
None of Jessica's friends had ever been inside Kelly's. It had the most notorious reputation of any bar in the whole valley. A mixture of alarm and excitement raced through Jessica's body. Boy, would she have something to talk about tomorrow. Rick must have noticed how nervous she looked, for he squeezed her shoulders in rough reassurance. Just wasn't
Don't worry!
expecting that sentence. Take it easy, Heaven. You've just graduated into the real world. Think you can handle it? Are you kidding? She tossed back. I can handle anything. What? Isn't she 16?
Yeah!
Okay.
I think. Yeah. She's 16, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gross.
Once inside, she wasn't so sure. Kelly's was definitely out of her league. So was Rick Andover, she was beginning to think. That's my girl, he murmured against her ear, sliding his arm about her waist in a proprietary way as they passed through the bar area.
As if that slide is just
heading
his,
for one
it's
of the
no one
dimly lit
else's.
booths in the back.
Wow.
That is the Rick Andover proprietary backslide.
These hips are mine now.
Jessica had never been so acutely aware of both her age and her appearance before. Several of the men stared at her, and one let forth a low wolf whistle. Her face was burning from anger and embarrassment, and her eyes watered from the cigarette smoke that wreathed the cramped room, dated. As they slid into the cracked vinyl booth, she leaned over to tell Rick how uncomfortable she felt, but her words were drowned in a sudden burst of twangy country western music from the jukebox.
Don't break my heart.
Rick ordered a couple of Boilermakers, which is not something a 16-year-old should drink. Something Jessica had never heard of before.
Because he wanted her to
Understandable.
vomit.
She was relieved to see that it was only beer, until the waitress placed 2 shot glasses of whiskey beside their foaming mugs. You know, because this book needs to teach the young people what Boilermakers are.
I will say, like, Jonathan, we went to, like, a heavy drinking high school. I still don't know that I knew what any drinks were called. It was just like, look what I stole from my parents. And I'm like, sweet, let's put it in our mouths.
Yeah. I famously didn't drink during high school, but yeah, she's correct. Our high school was full of alcoholics, like genuine alcoholics, like 16-year-old alcoholics.
Like, people would go to their cars in the parking lot during gym and drink. Like, come back into school.
People, like in our senior year, people had, like, yellow eyes.
Jesus Christ. And yet, I always feel like I'm walking garbage when I go to Annapolis.
Well, because they're better than everyone.
Just get drunk and pretend you own the world. You'll be fine. That's the Annapolis secret.
Yeah, that's the Annapolis way.
Alright. She was relieved to see that it was only beer until the waitress placed 2 shot glasses of whiskey beside their foaming mugs. She didn't even look at Jessica, much less ask for her ID. Despite the sign hanging over the bar, minors will not be served under penalty of law. With a growing sense of unease, Jessica sipped her beer while Rick tipped back his glass of whiskey as though it were water. He laughed huskily. Not exactly prime time, huh? His hand found her knee under the table and gave it a squeeze.
Oh.
Jessica winced, but forced a smile anyway. It's fun, she agreed, lying through her gritted teeth.
No, it's not.
So are you. Rick's hand moved up an inch or 2 on her leg. I knew the minute I laid eyes on you that you wouldn't let me down, little Jessica.
Okay, you're
That's
too
the
good
first
at the
time I
voice.
said your
I
name.
don't want to be on this.
With
That's
the first line,
time
I was
said
like,
your name. Jessica shifted her position, trying to maneuver herself out of his reach, but Rick only squeezed her tighter.
She giggled nervously in an attempt to cover up her unease. And I should have known you were the kind of guy who couldn't keep his hands to himself, she scolded lightly. Rick's eyes narrowed. All tease and no tickle, huh? Then your mama didn't tell you to put anything in the window that you don't sell in the store? His fingers groped higher, and she noticed he was beginning to slur his words. Well, I seen the merchandise, baby, and I'm sold. This time there was no pretense in the way Jessica pulled away from Rick. Suddenly he didn't seem so fascinating anymore, just dangerous. His eyes looked flat and black like a snake's. His breath, as he leaned over to kiss her, reeked of alcohol. Rick, don't! Jessica turned her head so that his lips found only her cheek, leaving a wet imprint, like the rings of moisture left on the table by their glasses, which is a metaphor you would think of at that time.
Poetry.
What's matter? What's matter? What's matter?
He's drunk.
He's drunk.
Or just philosophical. What's matter?
What's matter?
What is
What
matter?
is matter?
Why are we here?
Madness. You want to go somewhere quieter? Listen, I know a place down the... No! Jessica cried in true alarm. Rick, take me home. I told my parents I'd be back in an hour. I really can't stay. He shrugged. So call him and tell him you'll be late. Lest you're afraid of turning into a pumpkin. Rick laughed loudly at his own joke. Rick, please! She wasn't in the habit of begging, but she was getting desperate. A few more drinks and Rick would be in no condition to drive her home. Then she'd really be stuck.
He sure is fun now, isn't he, Jessica? Jesus Christ.
Never trust a man who talks fast and dangerous. I mean, that's just a rule.
Yeah. This got super dark quickly.
Yeah.
Like the first third of the book that we just laughed our way through, we're like, teenagers.
Don't worry,
and now
there's
I'm
no
just,
payoff, and there's a worse part later in the book. Where
God.
just to give you a little preview, this isn't the first date rapey thing that happens, but the second one is from a girl who makes it up to get back at somebody.
What?
Oh,
Oh,
so
no.
The book should have been titled Double Trouble.
I was right. So yeah, he'd be in no condition to drive her home, and then she'd really be stuck. Forget it, baby. He gulped the last of his beer and finished off her untouched shot of whiskey. I came here for a good time, and I'm not leaving. What about me? She wailed, suddenly close to tears. What am I supposed to do? Rick hooked a tattooed arm around her neck, choking her, dragging her into another one of his moist kisses. Do I
I
have
knew I
to
should
spell
have
it
brought
out
tequila
for
to
you?
this party.
Do I have to spell it out for you? Relax, baby. You might even have a good time yourself. Jessica slithered
Might?
adroitly. That's a
Might?
word. You might.
Slithered
Jessica
adroitly.
slithered adroitly, like a gymnastic snake, from his drunken clinch and stood up. Sorry,
I
Rick.
have to say, this sentence, like, this is somebody who wanted to be a real writer at some point who wrote this sentence. Jessica slid adroitly from his drunken clinch. Like, somebody's got a thesaurus out. They're, like, working for this sentence.
Francine hit period, and she was like, fucking nailed it. And, like, took a shot of whiskey.
Well, no, I think she's just like, I'm going to get these
And then
kids
she-
through their
had a
SATs.
Boilermaker.
Man, if only we knew, we would have had Boilermakers.
I know. I had no idea there would be a fucking liquor on this page.
I'm drinking
theme
California
song.
Boilermaker, which is a white claw with a glass of rosé. So I think it's
California Boilermaker. Sorry, Rick, she said, in command of herself once again. But I'd have a better time with an octopus.
I mean,
Thanks for
who wouldn't?
nothing.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. They seem very fun. They're
Going
all
on little adventures together.
Yeah, just put it in your hand and be like, ooh. Thanks for nothing. I'll just call a cab. Wait a minute, Rick hissed, grabbing her hand and jerking her back into the booth. You're not going anywhere. Jessica let out a yelp as blunt fingers encircled her wrist. She struggled to free herself. A man sitting at a bar stool nearby swiveled around to see what was going on. The first time anyone paid attention to the scuffle that was happening in the bar. Hey, giving you trouble, miss? The man. The man
See
asked.
what you think of seedy roadhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it, like a prospector that's sitting there? What's happening right now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Kelly's.
That's
Yes!
the dude from Deadwood that married the widow.
Yes, Jessica announced in a loud voice. I have to go home, and he won't let me go. The man grinned. He was probably about her father's age, only rougher looking, in a funny kind of nice way.
They're gonna
What?
fuck. They're gonna
What?
fuck.
Like a cross between a teddy bear and Jaws. What? What?
Jessica is messed
So
up.
this is
Yeah.
a
in the brain.
Goosebumps book.
Jessica
Jessica
ooh.
needs a therapist.
Yeah, Jessica really does need a therapist. What was the voice I just did?
A prospector.
I'd be glad to give you a lift home if your boyfriend won't. He said. Thanks, Jessica said, but he's not my boyfriend.
Not the part you should focus on.
Oh, but
Jessica.
what you should have said is, yes, or I don't know, this is a rapist. He's a rapist.
I don't.
Or
trust
just really
this
get
shark
me away
teddy
from
bear
this
either.
man, regardless of my relationship to him. Like,
Yeah.
In the 80s, they were just called frisky.
He was just being a boy.
She had
Also-
succeeded in wrenching.
Sorry, I was
Sorry,
just putting
go
on.
ahead.
I was trying to picture what physically a cross between a teddy bear and Jaws really looks like, and it's very upsetting when you think about it. Continue.
It is. I'm thinking of a teddy bear with like horrible sharp teeth.
I'm thinking about Jaws with fur.
That's also
although
horrible.
there's the famous speech from Jaws where he's like, black eyes like a doll's eye.
Like a doll's eyes.
So that could be like teddy bearish, right? Like
He
teddy
was
bear
thinking teddy bear the whole time.
All right,
we
yeah.
never knew. He was thinking about his teddy bear.
All right, this book's good again.
Good again. She had succeeded in wrenching away and was halfway to the door when Rick lunged after her, his black eyes spitting fire.
Like a doll's eye.
Out of the way, lard bucket, he growled at the man who had stepped in front of him. At that moment, Jessica felt as if all the air in that smoky room had been sucked out. She could hardly breathe. As she watched in horror, Rick hunched forward, swinging his fist in a wide, drunken arc. The man easily blocked the punch. His own ham-sized fist exploded against Rick's jaw with an audible crack.
He's got ham hands.
Rick reeled backward, crashing into a table and knocking over several chairs. A trickle of blood oozed from one corner of his mouth. Jessica stood frozen, unaware that any time had passed, until the howl of a siren brought her back to her senses with a sickening snap. The next thing she knew, there were two policemen barreling into the bar. One of them headed straight for Rick, who lay sprawled on the floor amid the cigarette butts, mumbling curses at everyone in sight. "This time I'm pressing charges," the bartender was yelling. "His name's Andover, and this isn't the first time he's tried to bust up my place."
Oh shit.
The other policeman took Jessica aside. "Do your parents know you're here, young lady?" he demanded sternly. "Oh no, please don't tell them," she begged, tears pouring down her cheeks. She didn't have to turn on the waterworks. This time they were for real.
You know, hell of a response time in an all-white town.
God.
I mean, if that was here in Baltimore, like they wouldn't be there for 40 fucking minutes. She didn't stand there for 40
If
minutes.
at all.
How do you spell Matthew McConaughey?
It
That-
doesn't,
it doesn't
matter.
matter.
Just write Mick and then trail off. Chris, it's your turn.
They would just kill me if they found out. I doubt that, he answered. But his tone softened slightly. Maybe it's best for your parents to find out. They might stop you from doing something even worse the next time. Now, why don't you give me your name? Panic swept through Jessica.
Elizabeth Wakefield.
I was just thinking that. I bet she would.
Oh man.
Arrested, taken home by the police from Kelly's, of all fucking places. She'd be absolutely ruined. Besides being grounded for 500 years. Not to mention that she went and fucking lived that long. Wakefield? She managed to choke. Wakefield, huh? The cop peered closely at her. Sure, I know you. You're a friend of my niece, Emily Mayer. I've heard her mention Elizabeth Wakefield. Emily? Oh, sure. Jessica ignored his mistake. Oh, Jesus Christ. She's going to say she's fucking Elizabeth? This is horrible. I don't like this book. Jessica ignored her mistake. Emily's a terrific drummer, and the droids are the hottest band in Sweet Valley, she babbled in relief. The cop jotted down something in his notebook. Okay, young lady, he said. Let's get you home where you belong. In the squad car, Jessica began sobbing again with renewed desperation. She pulled out all the stops, every plea she could think of, from the trauma of being scarred for life to the fact that her father was a lawyer, and his reputation could be ruined. The cop said nothing until he pulled to a stop in front of her house.
You
Then
know,
he
if
turned
she
to
was
her.
honest with her parents
Yeah.
and said, like, I'm sorry, I snuck out to go on a date with this guy. He took me to a bar against my will.
Yeah.
I didn't drink any alcohol. He drank it all, and he tried to, touch me all over.
Yeah. And,
She could just be honest, because she didn't do anything wrong except be dumb and get in the car.
yeah.
Well, that's something a not horrible person would do.
It's like you guys
True.
don't even know Jessica.
Yeah.
Then he turned to look at her. Listen, he said, giving her a long, hard look. I'm going to let you off this time. No thanks to Niagara Falls either. Whatever the fuck that means.
Because she's
All her
crying.
tears.
Her tears. I was just thinking, I love that
okay.
place.
Alright. I just happen to believe in second chances.
Oh, thank you, officer. Jessica leaped from the car like someone who had just been reprieved from death row. I swear it will never happen again. It better not, he
Better
called
not.
after as she bounded
I
up
bet
the
it will.
driveway. Stay away from Rick Andover. I don't want to see you in the middle of any more brawls at Kelly's. And keep in mind, Elizabeth, I don't believe in third chances. Wait, I'm not. She started to tell him she wasn't Elizabeth. Now that she was out of danger, she was suddenly stricken by a guilty conscience for letting him think she was her twin. But the squad car had already disappeared into the night. Blinded by her overwhelming relief, Jessica hadn't seen the girl who walked past with a little black poodle on a leash. She probably wouldn't have noticed it was Caroline Pierce, her sorority sister and 3 doors down neighbor, even if she had bumped into her. Jessica was so happy to have been let off the hook, she practically flew up the front steps to the house. Caroline was heading home, too, straight for the white princess phone in her bedroom, which served as the central switchboard for Sweet Valley High gossip.
Ah!
God.
My God. Chapter 7. Elizabeth looked out her bedroom window to see what kind of day it was. No big surprise, just another fucking morning. The morning was bright and sunny, as it almost always was in Sweet Valley. Why, you can't get a... Why, you can't get a cloudy day when you really need one, she mused.
What does she need one for?
Okay, Liz,
Todd
she
Wilkins
told
doesn't
herself
love
sternly.
her.
Get your act
She's a
together.
cloudy day person.
If Todd preferred Jessica, that's the way it was. Elizabeth scanned the room, crazily, like a robot. It was her heaven, her sanctuary. She had decorated it herself. She had chosen the off-white carpeting, had painted the walls with a soft cream, and had picked out the bed frame and matching dresser. That's pretty privileged. She had also put up the 2 mirrors in the room, a small one over the dresser and a full-length one on the back of the door. One whole wall was a closet with louvered doors.
Louvered.
Instead of a desk, Elizabeth had decided on a large rectangular table. It held her typewriter, reference books, paper, and a ceramic holder for pens and pencils. She was really hot shit in this household. And right above the table was a theater poster of Jason Robards in A Touch of the Poet.
What?
I don't know, but that's awesome. She didn't think she would ever be as good as a writer as Eugene O'Neill, but it was a terrific looking poster, and she was, after all, a writer.
I guess technically. Elizabeth looked longingly at the one curious piece of furniture in the room, a chase lounge she had found in a thrift shop and recovered in a soft pale velvet. Maybe she could just curl up there for the day, or maybe for the rest of her life.
Oh, God.
Then her eyes zeroed in on the digital clock radio on her nightstand. Like, we just got a rundown of every object in the fucking room.
Yeah.
Oh no, she thought. I'm not only miserable down to my toes, but I'm going to get an F in science if I miss Mr. Russo's test. She grabbed her knapsack and dashed out of the room, nearly knocking over Jessica, who was heading for the stairs. "Liz!" Jessica yelped. "Sorry, Jess. I just checked the time. We're going to be late. Are you ready for Russo's test?" Test, Jessica grumbled as the two went down the stairs. "Doesn't that man realize there are more important things to do at school besides take tests? Of course I'm not ready." Elizabeth...
He is a teacher,
Wow.
so...
Elizabeth headed for the front door. "I don't have time for breakfast. See you in school." "Wait, Liz, there's something I have to talk to you about. It's absolutely urgent." "No time, Jess. I promised Enid I'd meet her before first period. Later." And she was gone before Jessica could tell her about the night before. Well, if meeting that wimpy Enid Rollins is more important than talking to her own sister, who's a horrible monster and treats her like absolute shit,
That's not the way Jessica sees it.
muttered.
Write your own reality.
Maybe nobody at school would find out about last night, she thought.
Oh, you dumb bitch. You don't know.
Yeah, fat chance. Maybe school will be canceled on account of a snowstorm. In California. Elizabeth spotted Enid sitting by herself. As she made her way across the broad green lawn, Elizabeth wondered what the latest absolutely vital matter was what Enid wanted to see her about. That is a terrible fucking sentence, and I hate everything about it. As she passed a group of boys, she noticed that they were staring at her. Before she could check to be sure she had all her clothes on, Bruce Patman
What?
stepped
Fuck,
out
I'm
of the
naked
group.
again.
He was smirking. "Didn't know you had it in you, Wakefield. Really awesome." "What?" Elizabeth stopped short and faced Bruce. "You know, Wakefield, you know, and now I know. The only thing I know, Patman, is that you seem to be missing a few marbles," Elizabeth snapped. She turned her back on the group and walked over to Enid. "Liz, I thought you'd never get here," Enid said, jumping to her feet. "I just got waylaid by Mr. Wonderful," Elizabeth said, nodding in Bruce Patman's direction. "You mean the gorgeous Bruce Patman?" "Don't forget Rich, Enid." "Oh yes, gorgeous Rich, and let's not leave out Salda, star of the tennis team." Both girls started giggling. Most girls at Sweet Valley High would kill for a date with the son of the town's richest and oldest family, but not Elizabeth or Enid. Suddenly getting serious, Enid asked, "What was Bruce saying to you?"
Elizabeth thought for a moment. "I'm not sure. It was totally weird. He said something about not knowing I had it in me, whatever it is." Oh. Enid looked down at her shoes. "Oh? Do you know what he was talking about?" "I'm not sure, but I think so. Liz, I want you to know that you're my best friend. I'll always be your best friend, no matter what." "No matter what? Enid, what are you talking about?" "I know
It's a crime that there's no Rachel
in
in this book.
But I meant it when I said we're best friends. I don't want you to worry about losing my friendship ever." Elizabeth stared open-mouthed at her friend. What was the matter with everybody today? "Enid, get to the point. Have I suddenly grown another head?" "Liz, I know that. I'm thinking you never tell anybody, but... Oh, there's Ronnie. Wait a minute. I gotta go talk to him right now." Enid seemed almost relieved to delay her conversation with her friend. "I'll talk to you later. Bye." Elizabeth stared as Enid hurried across the lawn toward Ronnie Edwards, who stood there frowning. Is something wrong, Ronnie? Enid would die if Ronnie were mad at her. She felt her heart begin to race. "What are you talking to her?" he asked. "Liz, she's my best friend."
Oh, fuck.
Oh, boy.
Maybe you should be more careful
You did that
about...
voice. Well, you did that voice like you had freckles painted on your face.
That's why I went off camera. See, I'm doing that.
Shit. Maybe you should be more careful about choosing friends. Everybody's talking about that stunt she pulled last night. Everybody? Ronnie, that's not true.
Besides, we haven't heard Lisa's side yet.
Enid, it's all over campus. Caroline Pierce saw the squad car bringing Liz home. She went to Kelly's with Rick Andover and started a riot. You really want to be friends with someone like that? Ronnie said accusingly.
We're not sure about all that, Ronnie. It's just a lot of rumors. I can't believe she'd go out with Rick. She's my friend. I'm going to stick by her no matter what.
I know I'm thinking about it too much.
Uh-huh.
But shouldn't the fact that she has an identical twin who would definitely do something like that, and
Like-
that everyone knows that she
Never
definitely would
to
not?
anybody in this series that might be
Oh,
the case.
God damn it.
Everyone is
God
very
damn it.
quick to be like, nope, it was you were seen, that is it, even though, again, every book involves Jessica doing this. Like,
And she was
my God.
wearing...
You've met
Liz's
children,
clothes.
right?
She was wearing her sandals. Her brand new sandals.
Yeah,
Those
well...
aren't that recognizable yet. She
But,
probably
like,
hasn't even gotten a chance to break them in.
But you've met children. Children are dumb.
Children are dumb, yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Um,
It's true.
So, the sound of the bell cut off with whatever Ronnie was going to say, but Enid knew he was angry. Oh, fuck, Enid. What are you going to do? What an absolutely unbelievable day, Elizabeth thought as she reached her front door. It was like being in the Twilight Zone. Everywhere she went, she got strange looks. Kids stopped talking as soon as she approached. In the lunchroom, in the library, in the halls. What in the world was Enid trying to tell her? Why did everybody keep offering her Boilermakers? Even Mr. Collins had insisted on being mysterious about some kind of problem with the school football field. She remembered her father mentioning the same thing the other morning at breakfast, but he wouldn't elaborate either. It was spooky and the day wasn't over yet.
I
As soon
will
as she opened
flag
the
that,
door...
like, wouldn't this be the worst episode of the Twilight Zone ever? It's like kids being cruel to each other in high school. What the fuck?
Like, what's the twist? What's the twist, Elizabeth? As soon as she opened the door, Elizabeth heard angry voices coming from the kitchen. Oh, shit. Her parents are mad.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're not mad at her. Yet. Steve, you were supposed to go back to school last night, Alice Wakefield said. This was bothering me in the first third of the book, and I guess it's going to bother
Why
me
wasn't
forever.
he at school in the middle of the week?
Why do they keep calling her Alice Wakefield, Alice Wakefield? They keep referring to her with her full name
Oh.
every fucking time.
I don't know.
And I'm just assuming it will continue. But that is a good question. I mean, it's college. Maybe he picked his schedule.
Maybe they get a
He
divorce
yells
and they
classes
get
on
a
Mondays.
He
Disneyland
goes
dad.
through all the high school girls, by the way, later. He's a real creeper.
They were pushing their friend on him before.
Yeah.
Mom, don't get uptight. I didn't miss anything important today. Oh, I guess he is skipping school. That's not the point. You're being very secretive. Your father and I are concerned about you. I didn't know you and Dad had time for anything except work these days. Steve! Sorry, Mom. I just don't like being hassled. Look, I gotta go. See you Friday.
I'm
Elizabeth
just starting to
entered the
feel
room
like I'm
just
not the
as
star of
Steve-
this series.
Elizabeth entered the room just as Stephen was opening the back door. Bye, Liz. Bye, Mom. He was gone. Elizabeth and her mother exchanged confused looks. What's up with Steve, Mom? I was hoping you could tell me. I don't... The sharp ring of the phone interrupted Elizabeth. I'll get it, Mom. Hello? She covered the mouthpiece with her hand. It's for me. I'll take it on the upstairs extension. Hang it up for me, Mom. Oh, remember those
I
days?
do remember those, yeah. And then when they don't, and you're like, get off the phone!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Then I've got to meet a client. Dad will be late, too. And there's a casserole in the freezer for you and Jessica, she said, having to shout the last because Elizabeth was already upstairs. She was her usual organized self, but she sounded distracted, as if she had her own problems as well. Almost as if she was a human being and not just a mother.
Nah, she's just a mom.
Enid! Elizabeth nearly shouted into the phone. Talk to me! Tell me what's going on!
Less than a minute later, a stunned Elizabeth was gasping for breath. I don't believe this. I was arrested, put on parole, and brought home in a squad car.
It's not
Enid,
parole.
that is the wildest, most
And she was-
idiotic, most... In Kelly's with Rick Andover? No wonder everybody... They're lies, Enid. I would never. When Elizabeth stopped to catch her breath, Enid filled her in on all the gruesome details, including the dead body.
What?
Carolyn
No.
Carolyn Pierce said
Christine.
she saw you, Liz. She said the policeman called you by name, that he has your name in his book, and that you're on parole. But Liz, you and I are friends. No matter. Stop saying that, Enid. There is no matter. I don't know why Caroline would spread lies about me. And for heaven's sake, I never even spoken to Rick Andover. He's scum. He's villainy. He's a superstitious and cowardly lot. I lost my place. Hold on. In a flash, though, Elizabeth realized that she did know someone who would speak to him. Jessica, her dumb bitch sister. But Caroline had heard the policeman say Elizabeth, not Jessica. She had to get to the bottom of this.
Oh my god.
What possible explanation would there be
Jesus
that the
Christ.
two of the identical twins would have gotten confused? There was only one person who would have the answers, and that blonde duplicate of herself should be home any minute, as if that fucking answered it. Enid, I don't know how in the world all this started, but I can't talk anymore now. I'll call you back later. Bye. She hung up and went into her room. She paced from the window to the door, waiting for her sister to get home. It was a nightmare. Please let it be a nightmare. Maybe something from the Scarecrow. But Elizabeth knew she was wide awake. Suddenly, the most awful, totally terrible thought popped into her head.
I just want to say real quick that that my shitty like drug addict cousin who probably has several warrants out for his arrest like at any given time was on TV one time being interviewed by the news because there was a car crash in the neighborhood and he gave my other cousin his brother's name. So that's a real thing that happens. Something that
It was
actually
on his
happened.
lower third and
It's good to
everything.
know.
Yeah, his lower third said the wrong name. We were like, what the fuck?
Todd Wilkins had heard this story. Maybe he even believed it. I've got to tell him the truth, she decided. But what was the truth? Like, deeply, what is truth anyway? The front door slammed, and a breathless Jessica ran upstairs calling, Liz, where are you? Jessica bolted into Elizabeth's room. The sisters stood facing one another, identical expressions on their lovely faces. Total panic. I was trying to figure out who that was, sorry. You've heard. I can tell you've heard, Lizzie. Have I ever? A thing like this could ruin the entire family, our futures, she moaned. What are we going to do? Start with Rick Andover, Jess. Rick Andover? He got to do with anything. He has everything to do with all the kids in school thinking I have a police record and that I'm out of parole. Elizabeth shouted, for one second, no effort to control her temper. Oh, that. Jessica shrugged, flushing guiltily.
Oh.
I can clear that little thing up in no time. Do it now!
Can you?
Elizabeth said. Later, Liz, actually got something really important. I found out this afternoon when Steve has been coming home every weekend. No wonder he's so serious and obnoxious to everybody. He should be ashamed of himself. My whole life is gonna go right down the tubes. How can you do this, Lizzie? She began to cry.
Oh, God.
Stop babbling, Jess, and stop crying. Tell me what Steve has done.
Our brother, a member of the Wakefield family, has been spending every weekend. Jessica got out between sobs. Oh, wait, okay, hang on. Our brother, a member of the Wakefield family, has been spending every weekend. Jessica got out between sobs. With Betsy Martin.
Maybe he's adopted.
Who the fuck is Betsy Martin?
No.
Why does it matter?
It's a terrible reveal.
Betsy Martin! A stunned silence filled the room. Elizabeth plopped down onto her bed, all thoughts of her own troubles pushed aside. Steve was seeing Betsy Martin? The Betsy Martin? Martin? Martin?
Martin.
Martin?
Jess,
Lawrence?
Are you sure? I can't believe it. Betsy's been doing drugs for years.
Whoa.
Betsy's been doing drugs for years.
What kind of drugs?
She sleeps around.
You really should have led this with, damn, Gina.
Yeah. And her father gets bombed out of his mind every night.
Bombed or
bombed.
What? What does that even mean?
Jessica said wildly. And her father gets bombed out of his mind every night. I just realized that Jessica is Lumpy Space Princess.
Oh my god, she is.
All right.
Okay, I'm all
Brad,
about
I'm
that.
coming for you, Brad. I'm ready for you. A new worry occurred to Elizabeth.
Jess, what are Mom and Dad gonna say when they find out?
Mom and Dad, Liz, what about the kids? What? What about the kids?
I
Is
think
she
she
referring
means the
to
kids in high
herself?
school, but like a 38-year-old woman is writing this.
Well, someone think of the children. I will be totally ruined forever when this gets around school, and you too.
I'm ruined already!
Elizabeth cried.
Will you please tell me what this Rick Andover business is all about?
Later, Lizzie, please.
There's literally nothing to explain. It's all been explained to her.
What do you want me to say? I fucking lied.
They thought I
lied.
was you and I did not correct
I didn't
them.
correct him. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I fucking threw you under the bus, you dumb bitch. What is there to get?
No, I want to know right now.
Shit, it's heating up.
Oh man. Chapter 8. Oh, Lizzie, it was so awful, Jessica wailed, bursting into tears.
I fucking hate Jessica
There was
so
drinking
much.
and fighting, and Rick had his hands all over. Rick, Elizabeth cut in. Did you say Rick? You mean you weren't out with Todd? Elizabeth was so relieved. She felt her anger deflate like a punctured
These
balloon.
fucking
Oh,
girls
I'm
and
so
their
glad
priorities.
Rick had his hands all over you and not Todd.
Oh, I'm so glad you were almost raped by a different person.
I wish I had been with Todd, said Jessica. He never would have taken me to that awful place. I'm telling you, it was all Rick's fault. He practically dragged me there for heaven's sake. Don't say heaven.
Oh, that's what he calls you. Gross.
If it was all Rick's fault, Elizabeth asked suspiciously, then how come the police ended up with my name? She wasn't letting Jessica worm her way out of it this time. It was a mix-up, Liz, Jessica cried. You've got to believe me. The cop was Emily's uncle, and he said he recognized you, and you didn't correct him. Elizabeth's voice was hard. I
Like
tried
Batman?
I tried to,
Yeah.
Lizzie. Honest, I did. He wouldn't listen.
Jessica was sobbing uncontrollably now, as if she had a lot of practice at it. Elizabeth felt torn between wanting to comfort her sister and wanting to murder her. Knowing she'd been with Rick instead of Todd made it easier for Elizabeth to forgive her. Stop crying, Jess, she commanded softly. I know how scared you must have been. I guess I would have been too. What I don't understand is how could you let people think I was arrested? That's so totally ridiculous, she said, grabbing a handful of tissues and mopping her face. The cop just drove me home and gave me a warning. If I'd been arrested, Mom and Dad would have been called. I can't believe Caroline would spread a story like that about you. I suppose this whole thing is Caroline's fault now, huh? Please don't hate me, Jessica begged. I'll clear your name, Liz. I promise, even if it ruins me. She sneaked a look at her sister to see if she would demand such a sacrifice. Elizabeth just thought for a moment. But you know, Liz, doing that just might keep the gossip going on forever. You know how it is. Anyway, something will happen tomorrow. Everybody will forget about this, but not my lumps, she said hopefully. Jessica, I don't care about the whole world. I just want my friends to know the truth. Jessica sensed she was almost off the hook. Certainly you don't think your friends, your real friends, would think you were arrested. Don't tell me that your very best friend, Wimpy Rollins, would turn on you. My lumps.
I just realized you guys are doing like the Kelly from the Shoes video voice. Like
Oh, it's that one
coming
too.
across.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, shit.
Shoes.
Your very
Shit.
best friend Rollins.
Let me borrow that top. Let me borrow that
Oh
top.
my god. I feel like I haven't seen that video in like 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a minute. Jessica knew she shouldn't make a crack about Enid, but she couldn't resist. She didn't like Elizabeth being close friends with anyone but her. That's abusive. Lost in thought.
Wait, is that actually what it says?
Yes.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Lost in thought, Elizabeth mumbled, "No, Enid is my friend. She'll stick." But what about Todd, she thought. Is there anyone else you want me to tell the truth to? Maybe Todd Wilkins? Aren't you and he kind of buddies? That's getting like a weird Mara thing going on. Jessica asked, never taking her eyes off her sister's face. Buddies? Buddies. The one bully in all the world whom Elizabeth loved, who made her heart beat faster and her breath catch in her throat and her loins get all damp. Buddies? Yeah, I guess that's what we are. She finally knowing she had won the battle, Jessica gave Elizabeth a hug. Don't worry about a thing, love. Todd and I have gotten very close. I'll tell him the truth. I just know he's too terrific a guy to hold it against you. No way do I want him mad at you, Lizzie. Like, wouldn't it be impossible when he picks me up for dates for him to not just say hello to you, Ellie? The picture of a smiling Todd picking up Jessica for dates, holding her hand, getting to second base, third, fourth, kissing her goodnight at the front door, made Elizabeth want to weep. She can only imagine in despair what Todd must think of her now.
I'm just thinking of Francine Pascal thinking up this book and be like, I'm gonna write a book about for teenagers, and it's gonna be about two twins, and one is struggling with everyday teenager stuff. The other one's a sociopath. Like a
The other one's just
raging,
evil.
like personality disorder-ridden sociopath.
The thing is, they end up making Elizabeth so obnoxiously good that you like Jessica better in the end. Like, you're like, at least Jessica's interesting. Elizabeth's like... But by the end, because there's so many switchbacks, like Elizabeth's like lied and used Jessica's identity, they all cheat on each other constantly, like blah blah blah. But at least like Jessica owns it. Elizabeth resets at the beginning of every book, like I'm just the most perfect girl in the world, and gee whiz, I'm a writer, and I sure like the newspaper. You know what I mean? Even if I'm lying and cheating on poor Todd Wilkins, like it's a lot. It's a lot. Elizabeth is real annoying.
So it's good. So it's good writing because it'll make you like flip flop back and forth between which characters you hate and love. All right, I'll give it that.
I don't know if it's good
Ronnie,
writing, but let's continue.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was not being serious. Ronnie and Enid had a date to spend what was left of the day at the beach, but when Ronnie knocked on Enid's door, Todd was standing beside him. What did we just jump to? What? Okay. Oh, there's 3 asterisks, so it's like a different scene with different characters.
Yes.
Ronnie and Enid had a date to spend what was left of the day at the beach, but when Ronnie knocked on Enid's door, Todd was standing beside him. Why, though? Okay, I guess
You'll
it'll
find
get there.
out if you keep reading.
That's confusing.
Because it's great writing and you're just not smart enough to get it.
Oh, right, okay. You don't mind, do you, Enid? Ronnie asked as they clattered down the deck steps. Just look at Todd. He's a mess. I couldn't let a frat brother go moping around like that without doing something.
I have a question I should have asked a while ago.
Yes.
Who the fuck is Ronnie?
Enid's boyfriend?
Boyfriend, yeah.
Enid's
Yes.
boyfriend.
But is he another jock person or is he a nerd
He is another.
person?
He's another jock person.
He's a frat. He's in a frat in
Yeah,
high
he's
school.
feel
a,
like
he's a jock
fraternities-
person. And I think it's important to note that the Ronnie voice you're using is the Jack in the Box from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer who's on the island of Misfits.
Yeah.
Ah!
See, I was thinking King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph, but same thing.
there you
Salmon!
go.
No one understands salmon!
Have some candy. Just look at Todd. He's a mess. I couldn't let a frat brother go moping around like that without doing something. So I asked him to come along with us, okay?
Charlie in the Box. That was
Charlie
his
in
name.
the
I was
Box.
trying to think.
Yeah.
Yes. Who want the Charlie in the Box? Enid took one look at Todd's sheepish, embarrassed expression and melted. She ruffled his hair like a child, linked arms with both of them, and said, "Let's have a threesome."
Come on, you gorgeous guys, let's go!
At first, the job of cheering Todd up didn't appear to be very difficult. By the time they hit the blue-green water, the same blue-green as Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield's eyes, he was actually laughing. Immediately, Enid and Ronnie announced, "It's water time!" and splashed Todd from both sides.
Oh my god.
They all rode in on the waves like human surfboards. When they finally dragged themselves from the water, dripping and shivering in more ways than one, they were all in great spirits. That is until Ronnie, sitting cross-legged on the small blanket Enid had brought along, said, "Hey, what do you think of Liz Wakefield and Rick Andover?" Todd sat upright, scowling. "I heard the rumor," he muttered unhappily. He looked crushed. Enid glared at Ronnie for being so stupid, but he didn't seem to get the message. "That guy is such a beast! I can't believe her!" Ronnie added, not realizing he was rubbing salt in the wound. Such a beast. That's how teenagers talk.
Now, wait a minute, Enid said. We've all heard the same rumor and... See, Ronnie interrupted, even Liz's best friend. No, Enid protested. We've just heard the rumor, but I know it's not true. I asked her about it. Smiling sarcastically, Ronnie demanded, and what did poor Liz do? Burst into tears? Enid didn't like Ronnie's attitude, and I don't either. No, she didn't burst into tears. In fact, she seemed quite angry and confused that anybody would say such things about her. She flatly denied the rumor, Ronnie. And you believed her? Ronnie asked, amazed. Of course I believe her, Enid said hotly. She wouldn't lie to me. She's my best friend. Sitting on the plaid blanket in the blazing sun, the three friends shared an awkward silence. Enid picked up handfuls of sand, letting the grains sift out from between her clenched fingers. I know Liz better than just about anybody, and I can't imagine her with a guy like Rick, especially in a place like Kelly's. Well, sometimes a person is not what she seems, Ronnie said sharply. Why is he so fucking concerned?
Why is he pushing the subject so much? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of want my girlfriend to break up with me, so I'm going to keep being a dick.
I'm gonna poke this subject.
Mm-hmm. Todd nodded in agreement. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's what I'm finding. Enid couldn't believe her
Todd's
ears and
in
told
love with
them
her.
so. I know there's another explanation. I can't accept these rumors, especially after Liz has denied them. Todd, a sad, faraway look in his brown eyes, said, maybe there's just so much a person can take. I mean, how long can you go on trusting someone, believing in someone?
Jesus Christ.
He's having a real fucking conscience
If you're her,
shattering
existential
moment.
crisis.
Yeah.
if you're her friend, Enid said, you should never stop. Todd looked down at the sand. Desperately, Enid turned to Ronnie. Sometimes people make mistakes they're sorry for later, she said slowly and from her heart. Don't you think they should be forgiven? Ronnie thought for a moment, throwing a pebble over and over into the sand, as people do when it's like a visual medium, to let them know what they're thinking. Finally, he shook his head. Some things are unforgivable. Enid was shaken by Ronnie's attitude. It was a side of him she hadn't known before. A cold, hard, unforgiving side, and it frightened her.
It's fucked up.
It's also so much more intense than it used to be.
Yeah.
How did you hear about Liz? Todd asked Ronnie. Oh, wait, no, you were doing King Candy. Okay, Ronnie's King Candy. I just remembered that. I heard it from at least three people.
Chris, can you do the some things are unforgivable line again as King Candy?
Okay, no, I am so sorry. I totally forgot whose voice is who. All right, take two. Ronnie thought for a moment, throwing a pebble over and over into the sand. Finally, he shook his head. Some things are unforgivable.
Much better.
Enid was shaken by Ronnie's attitude. It was a side of him she hadn't known before. A cold, hard, unforgiving side, and it frightened her. How did you hear about Liz? Todd asked Ronnie. I heard it from at least, 3 people. Ronnie answered. She was seen getting out of the police car. She was overheard promising never to go to Kelly's again, with Rick especially. Well, I guess that's it then, Todd said with bitter resignation. We don't have a voice for Todd yet, do we?
It's just like dumb, like dumb boy.
All right.
Duh.
There's no use arguing because it's a plain fact. Liz was there with Rick, and no amount of explaining can change that.
What?
Not to mention the fact that she is an identical twin, but that has nothing to do with it.
I guess we've all made up our mind. Mob mentality.
Well, I don't believe she was there, Enid said. But even if she was, the real question is, are you a true friend? And can you forgive her? She was really asking Ronnie, pleading with Ronnie, but it was Todd who answered.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I really don't.
I don't know if I can do the Charlie the Vice voice, but I'm going to try. Well, I do know, Ronnie said musically. This girl I liked did something like that. I'd never speak to her again. Though the day was so warm, Enid shivered and pulled on his shirt. Well, so she hang out with Todd and Ronnie shirtless?
Just like topless.
I think they were in bathing suits.
Yeah.
She had made a decision. He must never know about me. Never.
What?
He must never know about the time she was arrested after that horrible accident. Lost and thought about herself, Enid forgot all about Elizabeth's problems.
What in the...
Hint, book 2 is called
What?
Secrets. Bitches,
Oh,
get ready.
shit.
What?
Oh, I think we have that one.
Do we have that one?
I think we do have a physical copy of a Sweet Valley book, and I think it was called Secrets, and I think I got it because that sounded juicy.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Nice. It was one of those mornings that made Elizabeth think her sister had been a bird in a former life. Like you think all the time. Jessica was chirping away nonstop at the breakfast table. Didn't I tell you, Miss Sourpuss, that it all over? Jessica burbled over her Rice Krispies. Why, the entire school has forgotten about you and Brack. About who and who? No, that's sorry, Batman. About who and who? I mean, about her name. Nobody said a word after Ian Day. How did I for you, Jess? They talked to me about it. Practically all anybody talks about is me going to Kelly's. And what I did with Rick. Who said that? Actually, Jessica, you're right. Nobody talks about it. They just hint. They talk to each other about it. When I walk up, they stop. I'm a walking conversation stopper. I think you're just imagining that. No, I'm not, Jessica. You didn't fill me in. Everybody's talking about me and Rick, and they don't believe it. On Wednesday, there was a big message on the blackboard of the Oracle office when I walked in, too.
Jessica leaned forward. What did it say? She asked, as though it were some juicy gossip about somebody else, you dumb fucking bitch.
It said, "Scoop. Big shot editor Wakefield makes news. Why isn't it in the paper?"
The hard questions being asked on the blackboard. The Banksy of Sweet Valley High is really putting it to people.
That is vile, Jessica snapped. You're not the editor. It isn't your decision to print such a story. Elizabeth shook her head in dismay and at how fucking thick her sister was being.
Jessica, sometimes I truly do wonder about you.
Lizzie, I promise that anytime I hear anybody say anything about you, I'll set them straight, maybe. Elizabeth stared forlornly out the window at the peaceful swimming pool. Wouldn't it be nice to sit out there all day and not have to face anyone at Sweet Valley High? Are there people you're worried about? Jessica asked anxiously. Because I'll tell them if there are. If only someone could convince Todd Wilkins of the truth. Elizabeth felt tears forming behind her eyes. Enid had told her about their trip to the beach and how Todd had heard all about the lurid details and believed them. How could he?
No,
Elizabeth said.
anybody who would believe things about me without even finding out the truth isn't anybody I care about.
You're not even going to tell Mom and Dad... Wait, you're not going to tell Mom and Dad on me?
Jessica, you know I'd never do something like that to you. Even
This
though
voice
I
is
should.
turning out just more perfect and perfect with every line that we
It
read.
really works very well.
It really is. It's
I
really
also
like.
think we got a nice audience throwback here that anybody reading this book has thought, wouldn't it be nice to sit out there all day and not have to face anyone at Sweet Valley High? Like, we're all feeling that at this point.
I definitely feel that. It hits home.
Jessica gazed at her wonderful sister, and a wave of love flooded through her. She grabbed Elizabeth and hugged her.
Really?
You're so wonderful to me, Lizzie. Sometimes I think I don't deserve it.
Oh, all the time.
No,
It's
fucking
because
kidding.
you don't.
You don't, you bitch.
In Elizabeth's mood, that was all it took for the tears to flow. She wept, hugging Jessica as hard as she could. Oh, Jessie, you're wonderful too. You deserve everything. Everybody loves you, and they should.
Nope.
Jesus Christ. Lizzie, you're crying. It's all right, Jessie. I'm just upset about Steve and things.
Betsy
heard-
Martin.
Yeah.
Betsy Martin.
She hurried
That
from the kitchen
whore.
to fix her face.
That drug-addled slut.
She would show none of this at school. Elizabeth Wakefield would hold her head high. Actually, the gossip about the Kelly's Roadhouse fiasco did seem to be dying down. When Elizabeth got to school that day, the corridors were buzzing with a new and much more serious crisis. The Gladiators football field. What the fuck is happening with the field?
I don't remember at
Okay.
all.
Oh, I think
just-
they're about to explain it.
Okay.
I don't.
You're about to
Sinkhole.
hear. You're about to hear.
I feel like they just keep saying something about the field, and
Yeah.
George Fowler, Lila Fowler's father, was throwing the school off the field, the rumor said. He was one of the richest men in Sweet Valley already, and he wanted to take over the football field to put up a factory. Now the big mystery of the football field made sense. George, wait, who's saying
It's the
this?
plot of every 80s movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Winston Egbert is like the big nerd, by the way, who's about to
Oh,
talk.
I'm so
and
excited.
also, Lila Fowler is Jessica's best friend.
Oh, God.
I remember that name from back in the day.
Lila
Yeah,
Fowler.
she was in
Yeah.
the Young books too.
The last episode, we lost our shit at the mention of Winston Egbert because that's the fucking most on-the-nose name for a nerd.
Well, as I told you in the amazing Jessica Quits the Squad trilogy, which is the peak of Sweet Valley High, Winston Egbert, Todd Wilkins, and Ken Matthews, the quarterback of the football team, dress up as cheerleaders to sneak into this cheerleader camp, and Winston really has a grand old time. It's pretty good.
Oh, my
Wow.
God. Holy shit.
That sounds amazing. Well, I'm sorry for not being a voice doing person because Winston's talking now, and I'm going to ruin it by being boring. George Fowler is stealing our football field, lanky, dark-haired Winston Egbert told Elizabeth breathlessly. For once, he didn't appear to be joking. No, you idiot, Dana Larson, who was walking... No, you idiot, said Dana Larson, who was walking by. Dana was the lead singer for the Droids, Sweet Valley High's hottest rock band.
Oh, my God.
It's the
Great
Patmans.
band name, though.
The Droids?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's the Patmans. Bruce Patman's father bought the land, and he is going to put it in an amusement park.
Oh, my God. What?
Okay, Chris gets to do it.
All right. Wait. Okay.
Do whatever
Oh,
you want,
shit.
Chris.
Give me direction. Who is Winston?
You got Egbert.
Well, so we've
He
already...
sounds like an Egbert.
He sounds like an Egbert. Here's what I'm thinking off the top of my
All right.
head. The
Winston
Dungeons
Egbert.
and Dragons nerd from Wet Hot American Summer.
I was thinking of the nerdy
All right.
kid from Daria. I don't remember his name.
Oh,
The
yeah.
red-haired guy.
I don't remember what he sounds like, but Winston Egbert, nerdy kid. Here we go. An amusement park? Said Winston, astounded. Hey, that wouldn't be so bad. He turned and dashed down the corridor. Hey, did you hear? Bruce Patman's father is building a Disneyland on the football field. Elizabeth, from her
Disneyland.
experience as a reporter for The Oracle, I did plug my nose for that whole thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Elizabeth, from her experience as a reporter for The Oracle, knew there was no sense believing the distorted rumors circulating through the halls. She headed for the newspaper office and Mr. Collins. "Mr. Collins," she said. "What's going on? I've heard crazy rumors." They're not rumors, Elizabeth," said Mr. Collins, looking grim. "They are true enough." Sweet
By the way,
Valley's
Mr.
most...
Collins and Elizabeth always have like a low key "they're gonna fuck" energy. If you want that to add to your performance.
Okay.
If you
So
want this
I'll
dripping
go
with
back.
more sexuality, Chris.
I'll do a reread. Okay. "Mr. Collins, what's going on? I've heard crazy rumors." "They're not rumors, Elizabeth," said Mr. Collins, looking grim. "They're true enough. Sweet Valley's two most powerful families, the Patmans and the Fowlers, were at each other's throats again, and the high school was caught in the middle. The Patman-Fowler feud, pitting the old, established Henry Wilson Patman and his canning industry money against George Fowler and his new money made through silicon chips, was going to be fought out on the Gladiators football field."
Wait, I like how the old money is from a canning industry coach.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
I like that it's
gosh.
from a canning industry, and also is like Henry Wilson Patman. You know that he's rich because he has 3 names.
Yeah.
I read that cold and I really fucking struggled to keep a straight face through it.
So in the Sweet Valley Saga books, Alice Wakefield almost married Henry Patman.
Oh shit!
Oh, damn.
Oh, man.
All
What a
right, so
history.
back to Mr. Collins. "The school had leased a field from the city, but the lease ran out recently," said Mr. Collins. "Now George Fowler is trying to buy the land so he can put up a new factory.
for candy.
Right across
I'm
from the
imagining
school."
him like sitting
Said
halfway on
Elizabeth.
a desk.
Oh,
Trying to look
yeah.
casual.
Aghast.
Like sitting on the corner of a desk with his legs spread.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
like a spread
Like
leg.
his knee on his elbow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm picturing Dylan McDermott.
No, maybe Dermot Mulroney.
Wait, I might not know the difference between
Yeah, I
those
actually
people.
straight up don't know the difference between those two.
There is a vast difference between those two.
True.
Which one's
Dylan
Dr.
McDermott
Sexy
is
or what's
from
his
The
name?
Practice, I think.
Neither.
And Dermot Mulroney
Let me
is
finish my
from
page.
The Wedding Planner or something.
Oh,
The wedding
That's what he
Who's
wants.
The
Who's
wedding
Dr.
date?
McDermott?
Okay, so
Neither of them.
Well, who is that guy?
Patrick,
wait,
somebody.
Dempsey?
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah.
That's who I was
Yeah, that's
picturing.
not either of
Patrick
them.
Dempsey
that's-
is more
that's who-
like Dermot Mulroney than Dylan McDermott.
Okay.
Oh,
But
I love
also,
this
all
so
three are the
much.
same person.
Who names a person
All
Dermot?
right.
Dermot.
So,
That's Dermot.
all right.
Dermot. Wait, that's
Right
Dermot
across from the
Mulroney?
school, said
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Oh,
Aghast.
that guy.
All right.
That's. Sorry.
That's what he
He's got
wants.
kind of like a handsome Patrick Dempsey vibe. Although I feel like Winston Egbert is Can't Buy Me Love Patrick Dempsey when he's still like scrawny.
I guess I could see that as well. All right, so back to it.
Sorry, Chris.
Right across from the school, said Elizabeth, aghast. That's what he wants. The Fowlers judge everything by how they can make more money.
But where would the Gladiators play football? I don't think that interests George Fowler, Liz. But I've heard the Batmans want the field, Mr. Collins. Oh, yes, they do. When they heard George Fowler was going to buy the land for a factory, they went into shock. They'd gotten a court injunction to block the sale. They don't want a factory there. Well, good, said Elizabeth. Then we support the Batmans. Wrong, Elizabeth. The Patmans don't want the Gladiators on the field either. They want to pledge a formal... Okay, this is...
What?
the most
Wait,
ridiculous...
what?
This is what rich people want thing I've ever heard. Okay,
This is
hold on,
great.
Hold on. The Patmans don't want the Gladiators on the field either. They want to plant a formal English garden, the way it was in 1916. when it was part of
What?
the Vanderhorn estate. Who were the Vanderhorns?
Oh my god.
The Vanderhorns were one of the original families in Sweet Valley. So, Bruce Patman's mother was a Vanderhorn. My goodness! That
Gasp!
It's a good thing I'm the world's greatest detective, what a mess! Yes, and I'm afraid it's all yours. Mine? Elizabeth felt her pulse racing. She had never been given a story this big before. Yes, John is busy with the game against Palisades High, if we ever get to play it. So this one's all yours. You mean
The
we might not
richest
be able to
sounding
use the field on
schools.
a Palisades game, Mr. Collins? As of right now, Elizabeth, nobody can use that field for anything. The Fowlers have claimed it, and the Patman's Court injunction keeps everybody off the land until this is settled.
But the team has to practice.
Not on their own field, Elizabeth. Have fun. I just want to say real quick, I now believe that the title Double Love refers to the Patman and the Fowler feud going on over the football field.
It still doesn't make any sense because it should be a tennis reference, but it doesn't seem to be.
I feel
It's
like
about football, but
Yeah.
also I guess it's about that they both have crushes on Todd.
I
It's
guess
about class. It's class warfare, baby.
class warfare.
That's what we're talking about here.
I also like this, like casually thrown in, like also the Vanderhorns. The what? Like, I want someone to pop up and be like,
They just
"Did you
introduce
hear?"
something like you know about it.
I don't know. You've got
Like-
a little
like
bit of like
the-
Star Wars prequel energy here. Where you're like, do I care about the court battle?
Yeah.
The Fowlers and the Patmans are coming. When we just want to hear about high schoolers trying to stick it in each other. Like that's what I do.
Yeah. Like I'm 33 and finding this so boring. If I was 16, the second someone started talking about this, I'd be like, I don't fucking
I don't
care.
care.
Goodbye.
Where's that cute boy? But what I really want
Well-
though is someone to run in and be like, it's not about the Fowlers' claim to build a factory, and it's not about the Patmans wanting an English garden. They're actually fighting over the real story, the Vanderhorn treasure, buried underneath the gladiator football field. Everyone knows it's there.
man,
That would be great.
that
That'd be
shit
awesome.
gets together. That shit actually, like, there are super mysteries and stuff that have to do with that kind of shit. It's like how the Babysitter's Club and Super
But classically, the
Mysteries
Wakefields
exists,
discovered that trailer, and the Vanderhorns stole it from them.
Wait,
Exactly.
Christine, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
Well, yeah, that mystery, like Hannah was saying last time, that they solve mysteries eventually.
Yeah, there are like super mysteries the way they were with Babysitter's Club that aren't like really technically in canon, but like supernatural things can happen and like
Oh,
that kind of
that's
stuff.
awesome.
And actually, if I remember correctly, when I was talking about the Sweet Valley Saga ones that were like the past, right, like generations past, where like literally they have the same families trying to fuck each other over and over again. The like second round of Sweet Valley Saga were like the secrets kept from those families, and I believe there's like a locket thing that later we realize Alice Wakefield wears forever. There's Bruce Patman's
Oh my
fathers gave it to her.
Oh my god.
All right, so I think the one thing we need to remember is that these books are written for children. The one thing we need to remember about children is that at the end of the day, they're stupid as shit.
That's true for all these books.
That's a lot of detail to put in
It is
for
an incredible amount of detail.
teens.
That's
What it
for the
seems-
author. It's not for the
Well,
people
yeah.
reading it.
That's what I was just gonna say. What it really seems like is an author writing children's books, going like, "Oh, I gotta fucking keep myself awake."
No,
right.
somebody who thought they were going to be John Grisham someday is ending up writing Sweet Valley High, right? Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah. I don't know. I
But
feel
then
like you
even
could do
then,
worse
they
than-
end up
than
having like
being
a
the Sweet
team
Valley
of
High
people
at
to
birth.
do it. How great would it be to write a great book and then you just get to the point where it's just like, I wrote a loose outline, just go with it.
Yeah.
And
have a
then I
team of
have veto
ghostwriters.
power over what you do. Like, how
Okay.
great would that be?
Well, this kind of goes to what you were just saying, Bekah. Court injunctions might keep school officials and even big shots like the Patmans and the Fowlers off a disputed football field, but they were useless against the student body of Sweet Valley High. By lunchtime, the rumors had totally engulfed the school. Kids were milling around in front of the steps and spilling over onto the lawn. In the middle of the throng was Ken Matthews, the powerful blonde captain of the Gladiators football team. Next to him was... What?
I said he's the Ubermensch.
Ubermensch. The powerful blonde captain. Next to him was Todd Wilkins and some of the other school jocks who gives a fuck. All eyes were turned to them. Something had to be done. What are we gonna do, Kenny? Somebody yelled. They can't take our field. Okay, calm down, Ken said, gazing out over the crowd. Don't worry. Number one, the Gladiators have never lost anything without a fight. A roar of approval greeted this comment. And number two, Todd added, we need that field more than anyone else. They can build a factory or a garden any place. Right on, someone yelled. And it's ours, Ken shouted. Another roar from the assembled students. Looking out the cafeteria window, Mrs. Waller, the school dietitian... What?
What?
Fancy ass high school.
What the fuck is a school dietitian?
They got sororities and dietitians.
That's a fancy word for lunch lady, right?
Lunch lady, yeah.
Look, their rival has the word Palisades in it. We're out of our depth here.
Looking out the cafeteria window, Mrs. Waller, the school dietitian, saw the rally building in size. She put down her clipboard and hurried down the corridor to the gym.
Coach, Mrs. Waller called out. Coach Schultz looked up from the play diagrams he was working on in preparation for the big game against the Palisades Pumas. What's the matter, Mrs. Waller? Coach, I think we've got trouble. The football team is out in front of the school and they're all worked up. My team? Who the fuck else? Said Coach Schultz, getting up quickly. Kenny Matthews is in the middle of it. What are we waiting for? And together, Coach Schultz and Mrs. Waller hurried upstairs toward the principal's office. Chrome Dome's going to have a fit, said Mrs. Waller. My boys won't do anything wrong, said Coach Schultz. They're just high-spirited. They swept into Mr. Cooper's office just in time to hear the announcement on the school's intercom system. Coach Schultz, please report to the principal's office. I'm not invested in this.
Yeah, this is taking a turn that I don't care about.
Okay.
I'm just excited that Chrome Dome Cooper showed up because they called it out because he was bald, and that was a strong choice.
I like this trope that every principal has to be like so bald that his head is shiny.
Yeah. I like that the other teachers are calling him that. It's not just the students. That's a really good touch.
That's 100%. Fucked up. That's
fantastic.
That's also that's fucked up.
All right, we got a page break here.
Okay.
What are we going to do? Jessica shouted, having pushed through the crowd to head up the cheerleaders. I'll tell you what we're going to do, Todd yelled. We're going to stage a sit-in right on the football field.
Oh my god.
A cheer went up.
Hurrah!
If they want to
What
build
is this book about now?
anything on this field, they're going to have to build it on top of us, Ken shouted to the crowd. Another cheer went up, and the students began rushing across the great lawn toward the field. Come on, Jessica yelled, piloting the cheerleaders. No, I got Ken again. Follow me, gladiators. And just like an army of Roman warriors, the student body cascaded across the campus, pouring out of the school, dropping everything, racing to take possession of the football field. Inside his office, Mr. Cooper watched in frustration. We've got to stop them, he said. Excuse me. But nobody could stop the rush of students now. Elizabeth ran behind them, furiously taking notes on her steno pad about what was now the most exciting story to ever hit campus to remind you that she's a reporter. And there was Todd, right in the middle of it all. By the time she got to the field, a group of angry kids had cornered Leela Fowler, or Lila, depending on how you feel like reading that, and Bruce Patman, the children of the two families involved. Oh shit, plug nose. Hey Fowler, what's with you? Winston Egbert demanded of Lila. Isn't your father rich enough already? You leave my father out of this, Lila screamed. Hold on. I don't remember Bruce Patman's voice, but I'll just fucking wing it. A factory? How gross. Bruce Patman sneered. Think of all the failures. Think of grubby newcomers. This is a lot to go on. Hold on. Winston's the nerd. Listen to Mr. Two-Face, spat Winston. And then a brand new person. Yeah. Your father wants some look, but don't touch garden, said Emily Meyer.
Watch your
Who
face,
we've
Emily.
never heard before.
Bruce said, a garden would be an improvement over this mud shop. Besides, all the practice in the world won't help those lousy gladiators. You're a traitor, Patman! Somebody yelled. Where's his school spirit? Jessica yelled at him. Oh, save it, Wakefield. You and your family don't care about Sweet Valley High. You're a disgrace, Jessica yelled. Hey, when it comes to having a disgrace in the family, Jessica Wakefield, just consider your dear sister, the pub crawler.
No.
And I do
shit.
crawler. Elizabeth was taking notes.
She didn't add that.
And her face went bright red. Instantly, she felt all eyes on her. You leave my sister out of this, Jessica yelled. Why would we? Said Lila Fowler. You're all treating Bruce and me like we're lepers. I thought you were a friend of mine, Jessica Wakefield. Lila, I know, but my backside, said Bruce. And when it comes to a disgraceful family, Wakefield, how about your father and Marianna West, that trampy broad he's fooling around with? No, wait a minute.
I forgot about that.
Stepping forward. Marianna West works for my father's law firm. Yeah? Where? On the couch, maybe? Bruce sneered. You liar! Bruce laughed. Sure, your father spends all his time running around with a sexy woman, and you call that working for the firm.
Working for the firm. She's working for that firm, all right.
Oh, yeah.
They're working
The firmer
together
the
to
better.
stop you.
Elizabeth shouted. Yeah. Go put it in the paper. I don't know.
Is that like did a newsie walk on the scene in the apartment? That's my sitcom!
You know how rich people talk, like newsies. Who the fuck is Todd? There's too many fucking characters now.
Todd
the
is
one they're in love
dumb,
with.
dumb.
Oh, right, the dumb one. Okay.
Never mind that.
Todd was saying, pushing his way to the front.
We're interested in saving the field. I think that's enough out of you.
He told Bruce. Okay, Ken shouted, climbing up to the bleacher seats and addressing them all.
Are we giving up the field?
No! Came the roaring response.
Are they putting up a factory?
No!
A garden?
No! Come on, everybody! Jessica shouted. The gladiator cheer! Oh, God.
Oh, do you have to cheer now?
Oh, I hope so. She leaped down onto the track and led everybody in a Sweet Valley fight song. Nope, it's not there.
Oh.
Elizabeth frantically took notes, watching Todd from the corner of her eye. This was the biggest story she had ever been given, but Elizabeth still kept hearing the hateful words Bruce Patman had flung out about her father and Marianna West. Suddenly, as if seeing a missing puzzle piece falling into place, Elizabeth remembered the day, the previous week, when she accidentally walked into her parents' room while they were fucking, and in the midst of an argument. Not an argument, really. It was more like fucking. They weren't shouting at each other or anything like that. They were wrestling, but they were naked, and they seemed angry, but they liked it. It was more of a heated discussion.
I love hearing Bekah react to this because she doesn't have the eye.
And that
She's
went on
like,
for
"Oh
so
my
long that I was like, wait, what? Oh, he's joking. Wait, what? I am extremely gullible.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ. Her mother had seemed tense, and her father had worn an uncharacteristic frown. She'd only caught the tail end of their conversation, but it had brought a sour taste to her mouth nevertheless. I never said my work was more important than yours, Ned Wakefield had argued in a voice straining to remain patient. What I said was that it would be nice if we saw more of you. It might have just been a minor complaint. Their mother had been working longer hours than usual lately due to a special design project she was involved in. But the incident bothered Elizabeth because her parents almost never argued. The thought of anything coming between them struck her like a sudden blow. What if the argument was just the tip of an iceberg named Mariana West?
Oh, God.
You know how people name icebergs.
Yeah.
No.
Watch out, Iceberg Mariana.
No, Elizabeth told herself. My imagination is running away with me again. It can't be true. It just can't.
Mariana West, right ahead.
I don't know if I should read the next one or
Yeah,
not,
just read the next
because
one.
that was a
Fine.
short one. Chapter 10. Elizabeth was almost finished taking notes and ready to head back to the Oracle office when it happened. There he was, suddenly, right in front of her, face to face, and there was no possibility of her ignoring him. Hi, Todd. Liz, said Todd, his face lighting up. Hey, isn't this something? Yeah, I'm covering... What the fuck is happening? Yeah, I'm covering it for the Oracle. Wow, Liz, this is a big story. I always knew you'd be a great reporter. Really? Sure.
This is how people talk.
Thrilling.
Todd looked away then, as though remembering something, and fell silent. I was just heading back to school, Elizabeth said hopefully. Oh, I read that wrong. I was just heading back to school, Elizabeth said hopefully. Yeah, I'm going back too. They might have made up then and there. I feel like Elizabeth and Todd haven't talked since, like, chapter 1.
No, they haven't.
I don't think they've been in the same room together.
Yeah, I feel like Todd looked at Elizabeth, and that was it.
Yeah. They don't have a relationship, which is funny because it's so dramatic. They literally have been on 0 dates.
Yeah.
They might have made up then and there, Elizabeth thought later, except that suddenly Jessica came running over. Todd!
I just remembered Todd's voice. Oh, hi, Jess, he said.
Wait, what?
I think that was Steven's voice, but I mean, all these
I
dudes
thought it was
probably
Dumb
sound like that
Surfer.
dude.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we
Steven
definitely
was a
did.
surfer.
Steven was a surfer, but you can do that for Todd. I'm not married to Todd's dumb boy voice.
Nothing matters.
It's true.
I want to talk to you. It's terribly important, she gushed. Oh, sure, Todd said. Elizabeth walked away as quickly as she could. She thought she heard Todd call her, but she kept on going, across the campus to the Oracle office. It was the longest walk of her life.
She's not
Inside
very
the
athletic.
office,
She tripped a lot. It was embarrassing.
inside the office at last, Elizabeth sat at the typewriter, which is a thing that are in high schools, and plunged into
Well, in
writing the story.
83.
Yeah.
It was like a doctor's prescription. It shut out all the pain and longing.
What?
Right, she told herself. Keep on writing. Forget everything else.
I wish I had a prescription that did that.
Yeah, I know. Is that like Oxycontin?
None of my drugs work that well.
Is that an opiate?
Todd watched with a sense of loss as Elizabeth walked away. He
That's
had
a
a precious
weird
moment.
sentence.
Yeah.
He'd
I wanna
had
hear
a
that
precious moment when everything might have been set right and he'd let it slip away. As if everything that ever happened to you in high school is the most important thing in the world.
As if he couldn't
I mean,
just
it does
fucking
feel
call
like
her.
that at the time. Like, you know, it was all very high stakes at the moment.
That's true.
It's the most important thing that'll ever happen.
I definitely had some nights where I was like, I couldn't possibly go to school tomorrow, and nothing
Yeah.
this dramatic ever happened to me.
Somebody was talking to him. It was Jessica Wakefield. Eartha Todd Wilkins, she was saying with a slight trace of irritation. He was such a hunk, and just about the nicest guy at Sweet Valley High, the name of the book. But sometimes he seems so dense. What'd you say, Jessica? They were strolling along back toward the school again, and Jessica kept the pace leisurely. She wanted Todd to herself this time.
Why?
Liz sure was in a hurry, he said. Yes, Jessica said slowly. She's upset these days.
I guess she would be, Todd said. Living down a stunt like that isn't easy. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Jessica began. It's just terrible what's happening. What kids are saying. But, like, it's all true, Jessica. I'd give anything to find out it wasn't. Oh, Todd, Jessica whimpered, and she ran a few steps to a bench on the lawn and collapsed onto it. Todd was beside her in a minute.
Like a fainting couch, yes.
What's the matter, Jessica? Jessica was crying with abandon, holding her face in her hands and sobbing. Her shoulders shook.
What?
She wouldn't look at him.
Her eyes must be
Hey,
puffy
Jeff.
24/7.
Todd sat beside her and pulled her close, holding her against him as she cried. Come on now, you can't be that bad. Oh, Todd, I just can't stand it when people are saying about Elizabeth. I love her more than anything in the world. I can't let her be treated like that. Jessica looked up into Todd's concerned face, into his wonderfully tender brown eyes, and her heart fluttered. Todd, it could have happened to anyone. It's not fair. Why, it could have happened to me.
Oh my god.
Come on, Jessica. It didn't just happen. She knew what she was doing. Jessica took a deep breath. Todd, I can't let this go on. Elizabeth is my sister. I love her. Todd, it wasn't Elizabeth that got us.
Was it? No, Todd, it was me.
I truly can't believe she's actually telling the truth
I can't
to
either.
a single person.
Yeah, I'm shocked that she wasn't just like, well, you know.
Bitches,
No, I
bitches.
think her game plan
Character.
is.
You guys
I
write
think
her
her
off.
game
She's
plan
a
is to
twin,
get
but She has
sympathy.
many dimensions, okay?
No, like her whole goal here is to get Todd, so she's gonna do it to pull sympathy and.
Oh, yeah. She's not being sincere. What? Yes, me. My sister is not going to be blamed for this thing. It's not fair. Jessica was totally amazed at what happened next. She told the truth.
Totally.
Todd Wilkins stared deeply into her eyes for a long moment and then slowly shook his head as though in wonder. I've never heard anything so noble.
Jesus
He finally said.
Christ.
What? You take the blame for your sister? Jessica.
So dumb.
I don't think I've ever known how truly special you are until this moment. But Todd pulled her close, holding her tightly in his strong teenage arms for what seemed like an eternity. Then he gently kissed her. He didn't even hear the whistles and
What?
yells from the students who saw the whole thing right in the center of campus in the middle of the afternoon. Jessica sat there stunned. Never in her wildest dreams had she imagined that telling the truth could be so rewarding. Fuck! Because you're a sociopath.
Well, and that's the only reason she'll ever do it going forward,
Oh,
is if
boy.
there's a reward.
Yep. Jessica.
I only tell the truth for sex, too, so, like, I get it.
Jessica, you're wonderful, Todd said. Todd, you're the greatest guy I've ever met, ever, and ever will meet, ever. I'm 16, but I know. Do you know that? Listen, I'm taking you to the Phil Epsilon dance. This is a callback, Christy, from last episode when Chris misread Phi Epsilon and said Phil Epsilon, and we thought it was very funny.
It's Winston Egbert's stepbrother, Phil Epsilon.
What? That is, if you want to go with me. Want to? Oh, Todd! And she was around his neck once more, like a monkey.
What?
I want it more than anything in the world.
Like,
Anything
let
to
her
keep it
arms
from
be around
being
his
She-
neck?
my sister's.
Why is she around his neck? That's upsetting to me.
Her whole
but
body
you're
coiled
also
like
the
a
one
wing.
that says like she redeems herself later on.
That's true.
She slithered around his neck.
It's funny because after the first episode we recorded where we did the first third of the book, I felt like nothing happened. And in this part of the book,
Too much.
There's so many
Too much has
different plot
happened.
points
Yes.
going on.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that dance.
Me
More
too.
than my drunk ass can keep track of. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. The first thing Elizabeth heard about as she left the Oracle office was the big love scene. That was in capitalized letters.
Love scene!
Big love scene between Todd and Jessica on the bench in the center of campus. God, fucking news travels fast in this town.
Right?
Wow, Winston Egbert hooted, stopping Elizabeth as she came out of the school building. The temperature went up about 50 degrees here a little while ago.
Oh my god.
What happened, Winston? A certain beautiful cheerleader and a certain handsome basketball captain. What is he? Gossip Girl or whatever the fuck her thing is called? Went into a
Maybe
clinch.
he's Caroline Pierce. The one we heard was the gossiper.
Oh my god, yeah. He just walks around with a poodle at night.
Yeah.
What, certain basketball captain went into a clinch right out in front of the world.
Clinch?
What? I don't understand this
A
sentence.
clinch
I
is a wrestling thing. Like, that's like when, like the weird homoerotic embrace on a wrestling thing that, like, you can't down each other. And, like, if you're clinched, like, the umpire person breaks you up, right? Like, the referee separates you if you're clinched because you can't do anything from there. Like, neither party can. And this is the second time. But we also heard Rick Andover had Jessica clinched. So it's like, I guess in this universe, everybody understands that they use wrestling terminology to describe some kind of sexual embrace.
If you're in any sort of embrace, it's a clinch.
Well, yeah, it would have to be like a forward-facing hug, which is an awkward thing to imagine happening in wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, the next time Jonathan goes down the Ned and Alice Wakefield path, he's going to have to remember to describe it as they walked in on their parents clinching. Naked.
Clinching, yeah.
Fully nude clinching. There wasn't a whatever those wrestling things were called to be seen. Singlet.
Like the Greeks.
Singlet.
Yes, singlet. All right, I have to start the sentence over because it's weird.
Okay.
A certain beautiful cheerleader and a certain handsome basketball captain went into a clinch right out in front of the world, and the mercury soared.
Temperature.
The thermometer.
I get it
We're
now.
mixing metaphors here.
It's too many.
Oh, Elizabeth said Elizabeth. I read it wrong. I'm drunk now. Her heart ached. I thought Todd was going after you, but now I see it's Jessica. Boy, talk about showing your feelings in public. You're a dick, Winston.
Jesus Christ. I thought he was like a nerd. He's just like,
Yeah. Why are you so surprised, Winston? You of all people. You've been in love with Jessica since 5th grade. She's fantastic and you know it. Oh, I know she is, but so are you.
What?
Oh, well.
What's your angle?
Who are you going to the dance with?
Oh. What's his
Good
angle?
question, Winston. They walk down the steps. That's great. There, at the foot, Bruce Patman was gliding up to them in his black Porsche.
Gliding
Well. Well, Bruce said to Elizabeth, if it isn't Roadhouse Rhoda.
Ooh,
Sick
bird, yeah.
Elizabeth froze. Listen, I never thought you were such a fast number until now. Is he from the 50s?
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I did the
something
newsy,
like
I did the
that.
newsy voice
Yeah,
for
it
him.
worked.
I was right.
It worked.
I never knew you were such a fast number.
But from what I hear, I've decided you're my type. I'd like to take you to the dance.
Oh, shit.
Is that so? Elizabeth snapped. Sure. I can't stand most of those wimpy girls. We can put in an appearance at the dance, then head for someplace where we can have some real fun.
With our genitals.
All the
I know a little gin joint up the coast.
All the pent-up fury suddenly burst from her. All the anguish and the hurt and the pain caused by the snickering and whimpering and innuendo spilled out. Bruce Patman, I'd rather stay home for the rest of my life than go anywhere with you. But, as a matter of fact, I have a date. Yeah? Who with?
Oh, my God.
I'm remembering the person's name. What is it? Winston Egbert?
Yeah.
Egbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, Winston Egbert.
Me. Elizabeth spun around. There stood Winston Egbert, looking shocked at the sound of his own voice, as I was, by remembering who was talking. You? Bruce Patman laughed. You? The joke of the school? Yeah. Well, maybe I'm a joke, but you're an insult. Bruce Patman started to climb out of the car, his face flushed and mean. You stupid nothing. I'll fold you up and stuff you in the trash can.
That's such a rich person insult. You stupid nothing.
Hold on. I want to do it
use
again,
that.
and I want
I
to
like
channel a little bit of Matt Berry.
Oh shit.
You stupid nothing. I'll fold you up and stuff you in the trash can. Elizabeth stepped between them. Never mind, Bruce. It happens to be true. Win and I are going to the dance. She linked her arm in Winston's and led him away, leaving Bruce Patman sitting in his car with his mouth open in astonishment. Listen, I'm sorry, Winston said when they were out of earshot from Bruce. I just got so mad. I won't hold you to it.
So
Wait.
mad.
What is this, Win? Are you standing me up? Huh? You asked me for a date, didn't you? Why? Liz, I just couldn't help it. Pick me up at 7:30, okay? Winston Akron stared at the beautiful, popular, intelligent Elizabeth Wakefield and almost fainted. Okay, he said, astounded, then turned and raced madly across campus, screaming like a deranged chimpanzee.
Oh my god.
Flinging feces at everyone.
For the first time in ages, Elizabeth laughed long and hard. Then she turned her steps toward home. She would have fun with Winston at the dance. She really would. It was difficult not to laugh when he was around. She felt a lot better now and walked along jauntily. She even began whistling. It wasn't until she reached her own street that her steps faltered, and she wondered if she was whistling for some reason other than happiness. Maybe.
What?
Just maybe, it kept her from hearing her own painful thoughts. Chapter 11.
That's dark. Damn.
Should I do this page?
Bankruptcy.
I didn't know there was.
It's like not quite
Jesus Christ.
this page.
Yeah, you can do the next one. Chapter 11.
All right.
Bankruptcy.
Elizabeth
Bankruptcy.
dragged
Jesus
herself
Christ.
through the house and into the kitchen. She pulled a carton of milk out of the refrigerator and poured a glassful. As she drank, she chanted inwardly, I am happy for Jess. I am happy for Jess. But I'm so miserable I could die! Just then the front door slammed shut and Elizabeth heard Jessica shout, Lizzie! Lizzie! Oh, Lizzie, you're not going to believe this! Jessica burst into the room, and it was the 4th of July, Christmas morning, and Mardi Gras all rolled into one ecstatic, beautiful, blonde 16-year-old. I told him,
that's
Do they
Liz.
awesome.
celebrate Mardi Gras in their household?
Yeah, there's a lot happening there. I told him, Liz. I told him everything. I told him that it was me with Rick Andover at Kelly's, and he still invited me to the dance. You told him, Jess? He knows it wasn't me? I told him everything, and he forgave me. He's got to be the most wonderful boy in 137 days. Elizabeth was sure that something inside her died. The
137
public
what?
school system
States?
The public school system in Sugal is not the best.
She flunked geography.
And geometry.
And geometry. She flunked both geometry and geography.
Elizabeth was sure that something inside her died just then. If Todd knew it was Jessica at Kelly's and still asked her to the dance, well, she knew where that left her. Nowhere.
Answer, nowhere. She would go to the dance with Winston, have a wonderful time, get busy on her writing and on Winston. Oh, and forget about Todd. How in the world are you going to do that? She asked herself.
That's
She's going to tap
sensational,
Winston
Jess.
like a typewriter key. Get it? Get it? Because she's a writer.
What?
Tap him like a typewriter key. She's going to tap Winston like a typewriter key.
Hey, tap, tap.
That's sensational, Jess. You're going to have a terrific time. I hear Todd is a great dancer.
He's great at everything, I think. Jessica was bubbling over. Where's Mom? I can't wait to tell her all about this.
Do you
She's
think
going
he's
to
a
be
fake
late.
dick, Elizabeth? Like, this is where this is going, right? Like, he's great at everything? What are you talking about there? You're talking
He's
about
great at
cooking.
everything.
All the hand stuff.
What
He's
is
great
he
at
doing with
everything,
Flinch?
comma, I think is an awesome sentence. He's great at everything, I think. I don't actually know him at all. Where's Mom? I can't wait to tell her about this.
She's going to be late. An appointment, I think.
Again? Jessica pouted. That makes 3 nights in a row. I thought mothers were supposed to stay home and fix dinner once in a while. You know, get in the
Damn.
kitchen.
Jesus.
Stay in the kitchen, woman. Make me a sandwich. All that jazz. Elizabeth wondered how her sister could possibly descend from Cloud 9 with Todd Wilkin to the pits of depression so fast. Almost like there's something wrong with her. And simply because she had to do a little thing like help fix dinner.
Mom told us this morning that she was going to be late, Jess.
Elizabeth said patiently, trying to hide her unhappiness and control her temper all at the same time. Not doing a great job. Well, it's not fair, Jessica complained, storming around the kitchen. She has ruined my day. Totally and absolutely. Elizabeth stared at her sister in amazement. Had Jessica flipped out? How could anyone ruin a day that included a dance invitation from Todd Wilkins? She imagined how she would feel if Todd had asked her. She would be so far off the ground, she'd need a pilot's license. The thought of Todd's arms around her, the two of them dancing to slow, romantic music, made her knees so weak that she had to clutch the counter with both hands to keep standing from the powerful orgasm she felt.
God. Then she thought of how the evening would end. They'd be alone. Totally alone. Fuck. His arms would hold her close to him.
Yeah, they would.
His lips. Liz, you haven't heard a word I've said, Jessica accused. What? Said Elizabeth,
Do you think
reluctantly
he's
coming out of her daydream.
circumcised?
My very own sister is turning into an airhead right before my eyes. I was
what's happening.
trying to find out what time Mom will be home, if she's coming home at all. She's practically never home anymore. Oh, I can't sustain that voice. Of course, if you're too busy to talk to me, just say so, Elizabeth.
Jesus Christ.
Jessica was working herself up to the rage of the century
Oh, boy. I really
for
feel
ignoring her for a couple seconds.
I feel like Elizabeth is like one second away from punching everybody. Like, I thought she was going to punch Bruce. I feel like she's going to punch, like, Jessica all the time.
Maybe she gets to punch someone sometime.
I hope so.
Elizabeth turned toward her sister. One look at Jessica's unhappy face was all it took. Oh, Jess, I'm sorry, she said, giving her a quick hug. This hasn't been a world-class day for me. You have every right to be happy. I want you to know that I'm really pleased for you. After all, she thought with just a trace of bitterness, somebody in this family should be happy. Liz, stop it, Lizzie. You're doing it again. I'm listening. I swear it. Why is it so important to know when Mom's going to get home? I want to tell her about this sensational day, and I absolutely have to talk her into getting me that perfect, oh, Lizzie, you should see it, perfect dress at the mall. The sunshine was definitely back in Jessica's face and voice.
Tell me all about it, Elizabeth said, then sighed. While you're setting the table, let me check out the freezer to see what I can toss into the microwave. Because obviously it's all up to me because you're fucking useless. Well, it's Blue. It's Slinky. Don't forget the table, Jess. Jessica glared at her sister's back for a moment, but decided she'd better set the table if she expected Elizabeth to listen to her. Did I say Blue? And Slinky? As Elizabeth nodded, Jessica continued. It has a handkerchief... Oh, shit. Jessica. It has a handkerchief headline. And wait till you hear this, Lizzie.
What?
Wait, what
Spaghetti
is that?
straps and a neckline so low Todd will be panting.
My
Hold on.
16-year-old
Sounds like a case of overkill to me, Jess.
Wait.
And as
Wait,
a
Chris,
man,
wait.
I feel sorry for the intended victim.
I am confused about everything about that dress. Headline?
Handkerchief hemline.
Hemline.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
hemline. Okay, so that means
Handkerchief?
it's like a V. So like it's like the edge of a handkerchief. So like the sides would be higher than the front, which would go down to a V in the front.
Okay. So not like the pattern, but just the shape.
I also was
Correct.
like
Although
material?
often it does have the pattern too.
Okay.
But
And
yeah,
spaghetti
like, so it
straps.
kind of like
Alright.
flares out the way. Think about it if you picked up a handkerchief handkerchief from the middle, and the way like the four corners would go out into points and then like go up, like where the lines are straight. That's a handkerchief outline.
I gotcha.
All right. And wait till you hear this, Lizzie. Spaghetti straps and a neckline so low, Todd will be panting. Sounds like a case of overkill to me, Jess. And as a man, I feel sorry for the intended victim.
As a man?
Oh wait, no.
Oh shit!
Wrong voice.
Oh shit!
I know. I was like,
I will do that differently. Sounds like a case of overkill to me, Jess. And as a man, I feel sorry for the intended victim because I don't remember the brother's voice.
it was
Both girls,
surfer, like the
both girls
the turtle
spun
from
around in
Finding Nemo.
surprise. Stephen was standing just inside the archway between the kitchen and dining room. Steve, they chorused. I'm starved. Is there enough of whatever that's going to be for one? Hold on.
What?
I'm starved. Is there enough of whatever that's going to be for one?
Whatever that's going
Whatever
to be.
that's going to be. Is there enough of whatever that's
Is
going
there
to be?
enough of whatever that's going to be for one more? Okay. Now it makes sense.
It's not good. Doesn't make sense.
He asked, gesturing at the frozen food package Elizabeth was opening. Sure, she said. It's just the three of us for dinner tonight. But I thought aren't you going out tonight? No, he answered flatly. The twins exchanged worried looks. It's probably a good thing Mom and Dad aren't here, he said bitterly. I'm definitely not up to a repeat of last weekend's third degree.
I'm sure they don't mean to grow you, Steve. They're just concerned, for Pete's sake, Liz, not you too. Why can't everyone in this house, mind their own business? This family has got to be the biggest barn, 537 cities. What is with her in the geography?
Wait, what?
Why is it always... Is that the same number as before?
Yeah, but now it's cities. Oh, this bitch is dumb.
This family has got to be the biggest barn in 527 cities. Jessica exploded. Boring, boring, boring. She stomped around the room with the full attention of her brother and sister, just the way she liked it. Then she whirled, pointing a finger at Elizabeth. Yo, she sputtered. Act like you're a candidate for, the funny farm. All you do is mope, mope, mope. And yo, she suddenly shifted to Stephen. What a ray of sunshine you are. And on top of everything else, I was humiliated from every single person in school. Like, no father having an affair with that woman. Stephen's head snapped up, and he glared at Jessica. What are you talking about? Oh, Steve, she cried. It's all over school, all over town. Dad's been married on West Coast every single night, and Mom sleeps she doesn't even care at all. Her husband in a box car, so I get home. Stop it, Jess! Oh, this one is broken. Just because Bruce Batman shot up his mouth doesn't mean that any of it is true. I don't know what, Stephen wanted to know. Will one of us please, tell me what's going on around here?
Well, Dad has been spending a lot of evenings with Miss West,
Elizabeth said, groping for the right words.
He says he's helping her. He says he's helping her with a case.
He says, put in Jessica. But you two don't believe him? No, Jessica blurted out. It took Elizabeth a few moments longer to speak.
I want to believe him, Steve. But things have been sort of strange around here lately, and I just don't know.
Does Mom seem worried or upset? He asked. No, and that's the trouble. Oh, does Mom seem worried or upset? No, and that's the trouble, Jessica raged. How can she be so blind? Dad is so good looking. Ugh, gross. Dad is so good looking. Like you, Steve. I love the men in my family. At least for a man his age.
Dad. Why doesn't Mom want to fuck Dad?
Yeah, I'd fuck him. I just don't know why she won't. And Mariana is kind of attractive if you like the flashy type. What does that mean? Of course they're having an affair. What else are we supposed to think? You could try believing Dad for starters, Steve said angrily. He walked restlessly around the room. Dad has never lied to us. If he says he's helping her with a case, that's what he's doing. Isn't that just like a man? Jessica spat. You always stick up for each other. You're just as bad as Dad. As a matter of fact, you're just like him. Just as handsome. You both have bad taste in women. It would have taken a machete to slice through the sexual tension in the room. Jessica and Steven sat glaring at each other for hours. Obviously trying to control his rage, Steven spoke in a low, cold voice. You've got 5 seconds to explain that crack, Jessica. 5, 4.
Oh
3.
my god, Jessica had spoken without thinking. Not unusual for her. And she was afraid of the consequences. She had never seen Steven so... Yeah. She had never seen Steven so angry with her before. She had to say something quickly. Steve, I didn't mean... How can you stand there glaring so hatefully?
Nice one.
This was supposed to be my happy day, and now you're trying to ruin it.
Oh god, I hate
Is
it.
it her
Jessica
wedding?
buried...
Is it just because she
Yeah.
got asked to the dance? It's supposed to be her day.
It's my day.
My big day. Jessica buried her
I
face
hate
in her
her.
arms, sobbing helplessly for the 12th fucking time that day.
Oh, I hate her so much.
You selfish little twerp, Stephen said, glaring at
I thought you were going to say,
Jessica.
you selfish little twat.
I wish. Elizabeth jumped in quickly between them. Steve, please, you don't understand, she pleaded. Don't you ever get tired of defending her? Steve snapped, saying what we're all thinking. You don't understand what kind of a day it's been for Jess and me. You don't know what people said about Dad.
My god.
You literally just told him. Elizabeth was getting desperate. She had to make Stephen see. Steve, we know about you and her. That stopped him. He looked at her for a long moment. You know about me and her? What's that supposed to mean? He demanded. Elizabeth took a deep breath and plunged in. Steve, we know everything. We weren't snooping around and trying to butt in. Honest. I'm sorry too, Steve. I shouldn't have blurted it out like that. But you and Betsy Martin, it can't be. She's trash. Betsy Martin? What are you talking about? I'm in love with Trisha Martin.
Oh.
Trisha? You mean Betsy's sister?
Oh my god.
Elizabeth asked, stunned. Yeah, Trisha. Saying
Please
her
tell me
name
they're identical.
conjured up memories for Stephen. Lovely
Identical
Trisha
blonde
with her
twins.
strawberry blonde hair, her
Oh.
sweet nature, everything he wanted in this world. That was the opposite of his sister.
I want what I can't have. You.
That's wonderful, Steve, Elizabeth said. Trisha is a terrific girl. One of the best. I'm so happy for you.
Even though she has the same dad as Betsy, whom we were talking shit about also.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, you like this girl so much, but you're like, you just called her sister trash 2 sentences ago.
She's still a Martin, Jessica reminded
Oh,
him.
damn.
In case
Oh,
any
there you go.
reader forgot how terrible she was.
Damn, Gina. I'll do that every time. Don't worry.
Yes.
Not to worry, Jess. Nothing important is going to happen between the respected Wakefield family and the lowlife Martins. Basically, because I blew it. Oh boy, did I blow it.
Jesus Christ.
It's like when you're
Steven's
trying to
unhappy
maintain
story.
a sweet wave, and you just lose it. You just wipe the fuck out, man. It's just like that. That's what happened with me and Trisha. Damn Gina Martin.
Steven's unhappy story spilled out. As long as he and Trisha were alone together at Trisha's house, Everything had been wonderful. But gradually, Trisha had concluded that Stephen didn't want to be seen in public with her,
What?
and that he was ashamed to be associated with her family.
Jesus.
That was why he never took her anywhere. You're a snob, Stephen Wakefield, she had said, without any character voice, because it was just that important to say.
No, just like say it like a robot, like, you're a snob. Just monotone.
Why?
I don't
You're
know.
She's right, too.
Stephen Wakefield.
See, it works.
She's right, too, Stephen said to the twins. And now I've lost Trisha. Forever. As Elizabeth stared at her brother, she was filled with despair. She recalled the old saying about trouble coming in threes. She counted.
Oh my god.
I've lost Todd.
Never had.
Steve's lost Trisha.
They were good in bed.
Mom losing Dad would make it 3. Jessica, she noted coolly, was the only one who had managed to escape unscathed so far. Like a calculated bitch.
Bum, 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 bum. That's the end of this episode. Jesus
Whoa.
Christ.
So much happened.
That was
a lot of it
lot.
involved a parcel
Action
of land.
packed.
Yes. Who knew that I would get so caught up in the legal battle of a football field this episode?
Well, you guys know the first great wonder is never start a land war in Sweet Valley, so.
Holy shit, that was crazy. All of that was crazy. That started out with like almost a date rape,
Yeah.
and I forgot, like quickly.
It was all just dumb high school drama, and then they got into property rights and
Yeah. Class
Then
warfare.
we were having to read the real estate codes of Sweet Valley and understand the zoning regulations around the football field.
Oh my god. Well, I continue to hate Jessica. That's not changed. I hate her more, actually, honestly. If
She told the truth. Justice for Jessica.
What an honorable thing to have done.
She told the truth one whole time. So get on the
Yeah.
train or get the fuck
So-
out.
Yeah, that wipes the slate clean.
no, she told the truth. Well, hold on. She started telling the truth, and then when it started serving her, she started molding it again.
She didn't help that Todd Wakefield covered up the truth with his mouth. Okay. Like,
Well, it's the same thing that happened with the cop. She was like starting to tell the truth, like, wait, I'm not, and then she's like, never mind.
yeah, but you also know she doesn't try that hard. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
nice God.
She stalls.
I hate her. She's a diarrhea person.
You know what? That's what they said about Betsy Martin, too. I think you should back off your judgment.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she's on the same level as like any juggalo.
Wait, who? Jessica or Betsy?
Jessica.
Juggalo.
Jessica's a juggalo?
Yeah,
I believe it's
like
pronounced
she's on the
juggalette.
same level of society as like a fan of ICP.
Okay, maybe we should write a fan fiction that's Juggalo Wakefield and what that whole
Juggalo
situation
Wakefield.
would look like.
Oh, fuck. Well, thank you so much, Christine, for being on the show with us. I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We would. I think we would love to have you back if this didn't. If you enjoyed doing this.
Anytime, man. I mean, I think I'm going to lose my voice tomorrow from doing Elizabeth as Batman, but
We're all a
You
little
know,
rough
I
after.
I just went for it with volume when it felt like it wasn't going to really break through. I was like, just go for it. Just gun it.
Yeah, no, that's what I do. I will say this is crazy. This is way better than Animorphs, at least. So you should be glad you weren't on the show when we were reading that pile of shit.
I don't know. I miss the Helmicrons.
I do kind of miss the Helmicrons, but the rest of that was pretty unbearable.
We could refer to the Gladiators football team as the Holocrons. It would make you feel better.
The Gladiators versus the Helmicrons.
Oh my god, every football player, I just want to have the voice of the Helmicron females.
Yes. Oh, shit. Christine, is there anything you would like to plug for anyone listening to this? Or do you want to be anonymous?
No, I don't need to plug anything. I'm in marketing, so it's not very exciting. But I will say that I sent you a drawing that I made during this call or Shark Teddy Bear at Kelly's with hand fists smoking a cigarette that I made in Microsoft Paint while we were talking, as well as a New York magazine feature from The Cut talking about Sweet Valley's facelift they got in 2008. And one of the things we learned is that the band The Droids got their facelift was they are now called Valley of Death, which I think is sort of interesting. So, anyway, I hope please show Bekah and Chris the amazing artwork that I sent you on Facebook.
I cannot wait to see it.
Enjoy.
Oh, wait, hang on. Let me look.
We'll do it after.
We'll do it after. Oh shit! This is gonna be the episode artwork. This is gonna be the episode cover. I love it. Well, yeah. Thank you for being with us on the show, Chris. What do you want to plug?
I have nothing in the works. If you want to see really, really old pictures of my dog, you can follow me on Instagram at Chris Z Isn't Funny, and or on all the things, which really is just Instagram because I forgot I have a Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
So just do that.
You can follow me on all the things at John Brack, and follow Cactus Rodeo on Facebook for all of my comics and all of our podcasts. We have this show, which we love doing. We have the Sketchy Show, which is improv sketch comedy. We have CD Reads, which Bekah hosts with our friend Kelly, where they talk about romance novels. And
Ooh, Bekah, call me, girl.
Will do.
Ooh, it's good. It's really
My
good.
mom just told me she found a box of her old romance novels.
Yeah. And,
My favorite
I
romance novel title ever is Once a Cowboy, and we read it at City Cafe. Meg Bradshaw, Aaron Kelly, and I read it out loud at City Cafe. We were together to read romance novels out loud.
That's fucking great. Yeah, and me and Bekah also have a show called Movie Club, which the next episode coming out soon-ish is going to be Keanu Reeves' double feature, which we've been working on for, I want to say 2 years. It's been quite a long time.
Well, by working on, you mean...
Intending to do?
Yeah. We didn't do any work at all.
Well, by working on, I mean, we keep saying we're going to do it, then we watch Bill and Ted and The Matrix and get too drunk, and then we don't feel like recording, and then 6 more months go by, and then we're like, we should try that again. So... we'll do it.
It's been hard.
That sounds like a good time.
It's really good. We already recorded the Bill and Ted part, so now we have to record we have to watch Matrix. So we'll do that soon.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. It'll be up sometime soon. Anyway, thank you for listening, Bekah. Is there anything you want to plug?
You already said it.
I already said it. All right. I talked for you.
Right.
That's fine.
Yeah. Thank you for listening. Tune in next time for the conclusion to Sweet Valley High #1. Chris, what do you want to say?
Which we will record tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're recording this today.
Yeah.
Which might not be your today, but for us, we're recording it tomorrow, and I go back to work tomorrow. So if for some reason I'm not in the 3rd episode of this, it's either I didn't feel like doing it or I'm dead.
Let's hope it's the first one. You didn't feel like doing it.
I hope he's dead.
Bye. Bye. We love you.